Multi-storey on Silver Street, and many of those had cars parked inside. Reports suggest the crowd grew restless and some people shouted jump. The man fell from the ledge shortly before 8 p.m. His condition is unknown. Every household connected to the internet will have their access to online pornography blocked unless they ask for family-friendly filters to be switched off. It's one of a number of measures the Prime Minister will outline in a speech today. He'll also set out plans for a law which will make it illegal for people to possess pornography depicting rape. Jim Gamble, the former head of the Child Exploitation and Online Protection Centre, or CEOP, thinks David Cameron has gone after the easy target.
His involvement, I hope, is a good thing. But let's make sure he has the right focus and we prioritise the right things first. And that's got to be rescuing children from current ongoing abuse and holding predators to account, the 50,000 of them, so that they don't think they can do what they want willy-nilly.
A 22-year-old man's been arrested on suspicion of racially aggravated disorder outside a mosque in Bletchley. At around 3:30 yesterday morning, police responded to reports of a man throwing objects and threatening people at the mosque in Manor Road. Luton's mobile library service, along with the static libraries at Wigmore and Sundon Park, looked set for closure. Council officers have recommended that the facility should go as the local authority attempts to save £600,000. Facilities elsewhere in the town will have their hours or staff cut back. For the second year in a row, a British cyclist has won the Tour de France. Chris Froome, who was born in Kenya and schooled in South Africa, crossed the finish line on the Champs-Élysées just after 8:30 last night. Speaking on the podium, he dedicated the win to his mother, who died from cancer 5 years ago.
Without her encouragement to follow my dreams, I'd probably be at home watching this event on TV. It's a great shame she never got to come see the tour, but I'm sure she'd be extremely proud if she was here tonight.
The weather hot and humid with a possibility of thunderstorms and a top temperature of 30 degrees Celsius. That's the latest news and sport online at bbc.co.uk/3 counties.
I can ride a bike.
Can you ride it fast though?
If I'm going down a hill, yeah. And if I got my special trainers on, yeah, of course I can.
You might want to work on that. Might want to work on it.
Why?
Well, if you want to do the Tour de France, he was like 5 minutes ahead at one point.
Yeah.
Going down hills is not going to get you 5 minutes ahead.
I could be 5 minutes ahead if I wanted to. You don't believe me?
Not much, no.
Yeah. I can ride a bike, it's easy. Most of it's down mountains. Of course you're going to go fast if you're going down a mountain. You're going down a mountain, for goodness sakes. Oh, well, I hope you enjoyed the Tour de France this weekend. Hey, thunderstorms, thunderbolts and lightning, very, very frightening me. I like a bit of thunder. Not frightening me, frightening my son. He's 3.5 years old, so don't judge him for that. That's out of order. Thank you. He's only a baby. What are you doing? Don't judge a child. Don't judge a book by its cover. I look like a farmer, but I'm a lover. You can't judge a book by looking at the cover. Monday. It's Monday. Morning, this is Iain Lee, BBC Three Counties Radio. How are you? I'm a little bit... I don't know something's not quite right. Something's not quite right. I might be having a nervous breakdown live on the air. Quick, someone put a blank cassette in and record this. This could be gold. Now, coming up on the show this morning, we have a little bit of light and indeed a little bit of shade. And as always, it's good to get your opinion on these things. A 22-year-old man from Stevenage is due to be sentenced today after being found guilty of murdering his 19-year-old girlfriend at their home. Jack Wall killed Amelia Arnold in November last year. Her body was found 3 days later. Well, is enough being done to combat domestic violence? All this week on BBC Three Counties Radio, we're looking at the legacy, or otherwise, of the London Olympics. 1 year on, and has there been an increase in people taking up sport? Not in my house. And this story I just find incredible. At the weekend, a man climbed onto the ledge of the Mall car park in Luton in an attempt to jump off. The incident quickly gathered a large crowd, and some motorists couldn't get back to their vehicles. Now, the thing that staggers me is that some people started shouting jump at the poor fella that's thinking of ending it all. Well, have we lost our compassion? Facebook.com/BBC3CR. Send me a text, 81333. Start your text, 3CR. Oh, man alive. Or give me a call, 08459 455 555.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
08459 455 555 is the phone number. Now, is enough being done to combat domestic violence? A 22-year-old man from Stevenage is due to be sentenced today after being found guilty of murdering his 19-year-old girlfriend at their home. Jack Wall killed Amelia Arnold in November of last year. Her body was found 3 days later in a shallow grave in Woodland in Hatfield. He admitted manslaughter but denied he intended to kill her. The jury disagreed and found him guilty of murder at Blackfriars Court on Friday. During the trial, it was revealed he subjected Amelia to verbal and physical abuse on a daily basis for 3 months before killing her. Her father, Lawrence Arnold, made this statement outside court.
Right, I'd just like to say we are obviously extremely pleased with the verdict of the jury. They have taken time to go over the facts and have reached the correct decision, and I thank them for that. I would just like to say that more could have and should have been done to help my daughter Amelia. She was so scared of this man that she was unable to tell her family how she had been treated, and threatened that if she did tell anyone, especially the police, he would kill her. No one should be treated the way my daughter was prior to her death, and no matter what the outcome of the jury was to be, she was killed in the worst possible way, in my opinion. She was beaten to death. Nothing is going to bring Amelia back to us. We will never get over this tragedy. But in time, the loving, funny, beautiful memories of Amelia will overshadow this horrific period.
Well, Sophie Solaria has more details. What happened in this case, Sophie?
Well, Ian, this is brutal and horrifying. Jack Wall was found guilty last week of murdering his girlfriend Amelia in front of their baby girl.
Oh, dear.
At the Housing Association property on Hadrian's Walk in Stevenage. Now, it's known that Amelia had been trying to end their abusive relationship for some time when Jack hit her over the head with a heavy object, probably a dumbbell bar, and then strangled her. He then took the wires from his PlayStation games machine and tied her up in fetal position and later disposed of her body in Woodland with the help of his uncle Joseph Potter, who also pleaded guilty to perverting the course of justice. He will be sentenced today as well. Now, Jack Wall claimed he did not intend to kill Amelia, so pleaded guilty to manslaughter, but on Friday he was found guilty of her murder at Blackfriars Court.
I mean, this is horrific in any level. The really horrific thing is he did it in front of the little baby. That's just outrageous.
Yeah.
Quite shocking details about the injuries she received before she died were revealed during this trial, weren't they?
They were. A forensic pathologist, Dr. Nathaniel
By the way,
Perry.
can I just, if you've got youngsters, you might want to switch off for a couple of minutes because this bit isn't particularly pleasant.
Yeah, he did say, he told the court Amelia died as a result of severe head injuries. He said he could not rule out strangling, but did not contribute that to her death. Dr. Carey said she received up to 10 blows to the head with a threaded heavy object, like a dumbbell bar, but it was the one blow which caused the injury to the death, to the brain, leading to her death. He also said that she could have been alive for at least 30 minutes in a comatose state after the blows.
And Amelia had gone to Stevenage Borough Council, hadn't she, before her death?
She had indeed. She'd asked the Housing Advice Officer Kelly Bates at Stevenage Borough Council if Jack Wall could be rehoused at the end of September last year. Amelia told the council that Jack Wall had clumped her round the head and kicked her on 2 separate occasions, but she was too scared to report it to the police. She said their relationship had broken down severely and she didn't want him living with her because of her baby daughter. The council referred her case to Children's Services.
And it would appear that Amelia and Jack's relationship was very violent, wasn't it, from what we've heard in court?
It was. On the 30th of October, Amelia met with a cognitive behavioural therapist, Jane Coulson. During the trial, Miss Coulson told the court that Amelia had said to her that she was living with a monster. She said that Jack Wall had been violent for 2 years and 2 months. He was good for 2 years and 2 months in the relationship up until August 2012, but it was at that point that he got verbal and physically violent towards her. He told her he would snap her neck in her sleep, and accused her of doing things that she hadn't done, which made her personality split. Amelia said Wall took half the money and she struggled to feed herself and her baby. Miss Coulson recommended her to the Women's Resource Centre in Stevenage and also refers her to Children's Services, and she was due to meet them, but unfortunately was murdered before the meeting could take place.
This does raise questions, doesn't it, about how authorities deal with domestic violence?
It does, definitely. We asked Stevenage Borough Council to come on the programme this morning as well, but they told us that they would not be commenting until after Wall's sentencing. Herts County County Council said that in a statement on Friday that they had contact with Amelia over several years, most recently via Youth Connections, who was supporting her in relation to college and employment. After the birth of her child in 2011, they were also in contact with Children's Services, but no concerns were raised about the child's welfare. Although Amelia indicated her relationship with Jack Wall was volatile on several occasions, there was no indication that either she or her child were in any danger. After Wall was found guilty, Detective Inspector John Arthur, who investigated the case, said Amelia had been the victim of physical and mental abuse. She was controlled by Jack Wall, who was a bully. He cruelly and brutally took Amelia's life, leaving their daughter without a mum. And he said, I would like to pay tribute to Amelia's family. Not only had they tragically lost Amelia, but Jack Wall had put them through a harrowing ordeal of having to listen to evidence in court, which they did with great dignity. He said, we understand it can be extremely difficult for victims to seek help, but would personally like to reassure anyone suffering from this form of abuse that cases are dealt with sensitively and robustly by police, and would urge victims to come forward with any incidents.
Sophie, thank you very much. What a horrific and unpleasant story. Well, sentencing will take place later on today. 08459 455 555. Is enough being done to combat domestic violence?
There's no combination of words I could put on the back of a postcard. No song that I could sing, but I can try for your heart. And our dreams, and they are made out of real things, like a shoebox of photographs with sepia tone loving. Love is the answer, at least, for most of the questions in my heart, like why are we here and where do we go, and how come it's so hard. It's not always easy, and sometimes life can be deceiving. I'll tell you one thing, it's always better when we're together. It's always better when we're together. Yeah, we'll look at them stars when we're together. Well, it's always better when we're together. Yeah, it's always better when we're together. Moments just might find their way into my dreams tonight, but I know that they'll be gone when the morning light sings or brings new things. For tomorrow night you see that they'll be gone too. Too many things I have to do, but if all of these dreams might find their way into my day-to-day scene, I'd be under the impression I was somewhere in between, with only two, just me and you. Not so many things we got to do, or places we got to be. We'll sit beneath the mango tree now. Yeah, it's always better when we're together. We're somewhere in between together. Well, it's always better when we're together. Yeah, it's always better when we're together. I believe in memories, they look so pretty when I sleep. Hey, now and when I wake up, you look so pretty, sleeping next to me. But there is not enough time, and there is no song I could sing, and there is no combination of words I could say, but I will still tell you one thing, we're better together.
Morning, Iain Lee, BBC Three Counties Radio. Lots coming up on the show this morning. Fella jumped off the car park in Luton the other day, at the weekend. There were idiots in the crowd chanting, "Jump! Go on, jump!" I cannot believe that at all. They're asking this morning, well, have we lost our compassion? I find that incredible. I'm a bit inconvenienced, so I can't go and get my car. Yeah, there's a fella up there who's in so much pain, he's thinking of killing himself. 08459 455 555. Have we lost our compassion?
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Good morning. So far today, disruption on the trains. First Capital Connect affected from Sutton through to St Albans, Selhurst to Bedford, and it's because of overrunning engineering works at Streatham. Your tickets will be taken on London buses, if that's any use to you once you get toward London, and the Underground will take your tickets as well. The line through Streatham has been blocked, leading to many cancellations, and services are starting and terminating at alternative stations. No estimate for when things will be back to normal through there. Plus problems for the Metropolitan Line tube. Service has been suspended southbound from Watford to Harrow-on-the-Hill and Moore Park to Watford because of an obstruction on the track at Croxley. Things on the roads are looking good. No delays yet on any of the major routes across the three counties. M25, M1 and the M40 all looking good. Adam Glynn, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Adam. Right, it's coming up to 6:17. It's Monday, the 22nd of July. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. A 22-year-old Stevenage man is due to be sentenced for the murder of his 19-year-old girlfriend, Amelia Arnold. A 19-year-old man has been charged with murdering two teenagers in Fishermead in Milton Keynes 2 years ago. In sport, Phil Mickelson has won golf's Open Championship after a stunning final round at Muirfield. In other words, he got that small ball in a tiny hole several times better than anyone else. Coming up, a report out today shows children are becoming less happy. Why?
BBC Three Counties Radio. Every Saturday morning from 9, we play your favourite musical memories.
Now, this one is a memory. It's Jerry Keller, Here Comes Summer, and the first record I heard on this, on the Light programme it was, on this Ride Lady Margaret, was Jerry Keller, Here Comes Summer.
Justin Dealey.
On Saturday, I played the UK and American charts from the 20th of July, 1968. And I spoke to Chesney Hawkes. If you missed the show and you want to hear it again in full, of course you do, go to the website bbc.co.uk/Three Counties and click on Listen Again.
Probably won't.
Justin Dealey on BBC Three Counties Radio.
Me no speak English.
Oh, I think my mic was up.
Outside another yellow moon has punched a hole in the nighttime mist. I climb through the window and down to the street. I'm shining like a new dime. The downtown trains are full of all them Brooklyn girls. They try so hard to break out of their little worlds. You wave your hand and they scatter like crows. They have nothing that'll ever capture your heart. They're just thorns without the rose. Be careful of them in the dark. Oh, if I was the one you chose to be your only one. Oh, baby, can't you hear me now? Can't you hear me now? Will I see you tonight on a downtown train? Every night is just the same on a downtown train. I know your window and I know it's late. I know your stairs and your doorway. I'll walk down your street and past your gate. I stand by the light of the four-way. You watch them as they fall. Oh, baby, they are having their heart attacks. They stare at the carnival, but they'll never win you back. Will I see you tonight on a
this is Iain Lee, BBC Three Counties Radio. I hope it thunders. I love a good thunderstorm. First of all, it clears the air and it gets rid of this slight tension headache that I always seem to suffer from. Secondly, it's exciting, isn't it? Oh, I love it. Hope this heat's over for good. And enough of that. If you want to take part in this morning's show, facebook.com/BBC3CR, or you can give me a call, 08459 455 555. Now, the happiness of children living in England is in decline, according to a report out today. 14 to 15-year-olds have lower well-being than any other age group, as they're less likely to be happy about school, their appearance, and the amount of choice and freedom they have. The Children's Society, who quizzed more than 42,000 8 to 17-year-olds, says we shouldn't dismiss this as being normal and part of growing up. Well, I'm joined now by Jennifer Walters from the charity who wrote this report. They argue we all have a part to play in boosting children's well-being. Morning, Jennifer. What did you ask young people and what did you find?
Good morning. Well, we asked young people a whole range of questions about what impacts on what we call their well-being, their happiness, their life satisfaction, a whole things from their family, about how much choice they have and how they're feeling about school. We found some pretty significant findings. As you say, young teenagers, particularly those 14, those 15-year-olds, are unhappier than any other age group. They're 3 times more likely to say they've less money than friends, and they're 2.5 times more likely to be less happy about the way they look. And actually, things like over 3 times as likely not to feel they've not got enough friends. Really significant findings. We also found that it really isn't inevitable. The teenager feeling, it's not just them feeling a bit sad or, a bit grumpy. We can't just dismiss this about being an inevitable problem about teenagehood.
But if they're upset, and listen, I know there are lots of teenagers who suffer from severe clinical depression and contemplate suicide and things like that, so I'm not in any way mocking this, but if their problems are the way they look and the amount of control they have over their life, that is the universal teenage problem. That's what I was unhappy about when I was 14.
Look, what we're saying is most people would agree that at any one time in this country we have 500,000 children who really are unhappy with their lives. And actually what we're talking about here aren't the usual ups and downs, which we all go through. We absolutely acknowledge that. We're not talking about passing moods. We're talking here, it goes much, much deeper than that. We're talking really fundamentally about the way a child feels about their lives. They may really actually be feeling, this group of teenagers and children might be feeling very let down by very important things in life. And actually, as you say, for some, it's actually associated with some pretty long-term negative consequences. It can lead to things like eating disorders, depression, and even self-harm, which of course come at a great cost to us and society, to them and to wider society. So, this report outlines today what we can all do, parents, teachers, professionals all across the board, to listen to teenagers, to take them seriously.
Well, give us some of your tips, Jennifer. What can parents and teachers do?
Sure. Well, actually today we've launched a parents' guide, which is available on our website, which is www.childrensociety.org.uk. Some really, really simple things. Can be very cheap, very simple things like sharing a meal time, switching off the TV, spending some proper time together, doing things like getting kids active, getting them outdoors, walking, doing things like storytelling, taking notices of your child, looking what are they saying to you? How can we spend proper time together? Maybe thinking about how you can get them being more creative and opening up much, much more. And these seem like very, very simple things, but actually it's about the importance of giving them choice of things to do, listening to what they've got to say, and spending that time together. And it's really important to say that consistently through our research, it's been very clear it's the quality of relationships in families, spending family time, that absolutely is critical, is crucial to the happiness of our nation's children.
I agree. One of the simple my boys are 3.5 and 18 months, but one of the simple pleasures and one of the things we're trying to engender in our family, in our household, is sitting down, having meals together. That's a simple thing. But if you tell a 14-year-old, right, listen, turn off the A-Team or whatever it is they watch these days, come on, we're going to go out for a family walk. Oh, I'll get stuff, Dad. They're not going to listen, are they?
I mean, we're talking here, there's a whole list of things that we're recommending that you can do. do. And of course, every child and every teenager is different. So it's about doing the things that with your child are going to listen. There is no quick fix. The fundamental thing is that it's listening to your child, taking notice of your child. There are a whole raft of things that we can do. At the end of the day, we have 14, 15-year-olds that are not only unhappy than any other age group, but they're much less likely to want to go to school. As I say, they have concerns about their appearance. So it's just about, as a family, about sitting down, having a think about what's going to work, and not just dismissing the fact that they're in their bedroom with their door shut, feeling miserable as, that is inevitable. It is not inevitable. We really need to be listening much more to our teenagers, to our children, because fundamentally, 500,000 kids at any one time, that's 1 in 3 in every classroom, are not happy. And we're not just talking about, light-hearted changes in moods here. It can be pretty serious at times.
Jennifer, thank you very much indeed. Jennifer Walters from the Children's Society. Well, what do you think? How do you deal with your children or your grandchildren? Have you noticed that they're more depressed? I do remember being 14, just about, and I was miserable as sin about the fact I didn't have any money, the way I looked horrible. I didn't have enough friends. Really depressed about it. Isn't that, to a certain extent, part of growing up? Isn't that the kind of those 3-4 years then? Those are really what help define you as a grown-up, don't they? But if it is something bigger than this, something stronger than this, yes, I guess we do need to look at it. How do you cope with your children or your grandchildren if you've noticed them becoming depressed? 08459 455 555.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Overrunning engineering works at Streatham to the south of London are causing disruption for First Capital Connect trains this morning between Sutton and St Albans and Selhurst and Bedford. Tickets are being taken on London buses and London Underground services once you get that far. The line through Streatham completely blocked, leading to many cancellations as services are having to start and terminate at alternative stations. The Metropolitan Line tube is suspended between Moore Park and Watford, and now minor delays between Harrow-on-the-Hill and Amersham and Harrow-on-the-Hill and Chesham because of an obstruction on the line at Croxley. The rest of the line seems to be running well for the moment. If you're driving at the minute, everything looking pretty clear on the major routes, no M25 delays. Problems though if you're heading in toward London from the M40 and onto the A40. Eastbound through Uxbridge, there's a broken down coach just before you get to Swateley's roundabout. Adam Glynn, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Adam, thank you very much. In the next 30 minutes we'll be finding out, is there an Olympic legacy? Are more people doing sport? And have we lost compassion? But before that, here's the news and sport with Catherine Boyle.
Across beds, hearts and bugs.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
Good morning, it's 6:30. The headlines. The father of a Stevenage 19-year-old, Amelia Arnold, whose boyfriend is due to be sentenced for her murder, says not enough was done to help her. A 19-year-old man's been charged with murdering 2 teenagers in Fishermead in Milton Keynes 2 years ago, and police spoke to several people who encouraged a suicidal man to jump from a car park in Luton Town Centre on Friday.
Three Counties Sports.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Team Sky's Chris Froome has won the 100th edition of the Tour de France. He took the title by more than 4 minutes and linked arms with his Team Sky teammates as he crossed the finish line in Paris. It's Britain's second ever victory in the race after Sir Bradley Wiggins' triumph last year. After the race, Froome addressed the crowd that was gathered in the Champs-Élysées.
This is a beautiful country with the finest annual sporting event on the planet. To win the 100th edition is an honour beyond any I've dreamed. This is one yellow jersey that will stand the test of time. Thank you.
Meanwhile, Phil Mickelson's won golf's Open Championship after a stunning final round at Muirfield. The American scored a 5-under par 66 to leave him 3 under for the tournament. He finished 3 shots clear of wrapping up his win with a birdie on the final hole.
The ball is on its way towards the hole. Will he finish with a birdie? He will! Oh, Phil Mickelson has played like the Open champion from his opening tee shot.
England's cricketers thrashed Australia as they secured a 2-0 lead in the Ashes with a 347-run victory at Lords. Spinner Graham Swan finished with figures of 4 for 78, while Joe Root also took 2 wickets after he made 180 with the bat. Root, though, refused to take credit for the win.
I think if you'd have said that this is what the score would be 2 weeks ago, we'd have definitely snatch your hand off. So I think the best thing is, the most pleasing thing is, everyone's contributing and everyone's playing well and playing the part. So hopefully that can continue throughout the rest of the series, and we can continue to kick on.
Finally, football, and MK Dons drew 1-1 in their friendly against Plymouth Argyle yesterday. Manager Carl Robinson described the match as a testing run-out, but praised the goal scorer Daniel Powell. And that's your latest news and sport. I'll be back with more at 7 o'clock.
Thank you very much.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is Iain Lee.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
BBC Three Counties Radio. Have we lost our compassion? Dear listener, a fellow was going to jump off the roof of a car park in Luton at the weekend. He did jump off. People couldn't get to their cars. It was closed off. Oh no, I can't get to my car. I'm going to be an hour home late. So what did people start doing? They started shouting, "Jump! Get on with it!" I find that absolutely incredible. Have we lost our compassion? And have you taken up sport as a direct result of the Olympics? 08459 455 555. Here's one of the best pop songs in the world. Who can't help but have their soul lifted a little bit by a bit of Mama Cass?
Once I believed that when love came to me,
very rude message. Someone just tweeted me, "Oh, you play music on your breakfast show, lightweight." How rude! It's only 4 songs, first hour. Boom! And during those songs, I like to run around the car park just keeping fit. So if anything, I'm harder and tougher than any other breakfast presenter working within the confines of BBC local radio. 08459 455 555. Now, all this week on BBC Three Counties Radio, we're looking at the legacy or otherwise of the London Olympics. 1 year on, and we still can't stop banging on... No, hang on. Sorry, I read that wrong. 1 year on, has there been an increase in people taking up sports? Well, the Lee Valley Whitewater Centre in Hertfordshire is giving school kids a go at learning the ropes in whitewater rafting and canoeing. A year on from London 2012, the Olympic venue where Bedford's Etienne Stott won gold last year is in daily use with a number of successful legacy projects taking place. A post-Games investment of more than £6 million means the centre can provide world-class facilities to young people and adults alike. Our reporter Barry Caffrey visited Lee Valley on a day when school children got to try out the updated facilities.
You got your paddles. Right, when you're holding it, thumb underneath, pad right across the top. Okay, that's called your T-grip. Please don't let go of that. Don't start waving it about, because you'll be smiling, the person next you'll be holding their nose because you whacked them on it, okay? Oh, I'm Adam. I'm one of the raft guides down at Lee Valley, taking these guys down the course.
So, Adam, there's seven young guys here, and it's their first time on the waters. What do they need to be careful of?
Falling out, so they just need to be careful of the blocks on the course and the white water. Getting everything nice and high, and they'll be nice and safe then.
How important is it? This is a fantastic course, and the fact that it was used in London 2012 last year, how good is it that, you know, children can have the opportunity of getting on and learning the skills?
Yeah, I think it's amazing that people can learn the skills and go down the same course that they've been down. And it just enthuses them to go and try other things and get into stuff, so yeah.
My name's Samson, and what I'm looking forward to is just the experience. That's, you know, with kayaking.
Has water sports like kayaking been something that you would have considered before?
Not before, but now it's getting to me and I'm thinking about it more, so yeah.
My name's Karim, and I'm most looking forward to having fun and going down really fast.
Going down really fast? Yeah. So you're not scared of toppling over, falling out or anything?
No, I actually want to topple over.
My name is Etienne Stott. I'm the Olympic champion in canoe slalom from London 2012, and I was brought up in Bedford. It's always nice to be back here in Lee Valley. It's it's going to be such an important part of our lives will have taken place here. You know, it's beautiful, the sunshine here, the sun on the clear water. It looks absolutely fantastic. People are enjoying themselves, enjoying the sport that we love, and it's just a really nice vibe.
How important is it for you that this centre is being opened up for school children to come down and being able to learn about canoeing?
It's absolutely, centrally important. What they aim to do with this centre, even as they announced it was going to be used for Olympics, was the legacy was the major thing. They almost sort of seen it as lending this venue to the Olympics for those 5 days, but then bringing it back and using it for legacy straight away. And getting as many people involved and active is just a great thing, and this venue is perfect for it.
Is there really and truly an Olympic legacy, do you think?
Oh, absolutely. There's the volunteers in our sport are absolutely dead set. They love the sport. They're passionate about the sport. They want to bring more people in it. They know, like me, the benefits that you can get from being active in a sport, and also they know the benefits that are true to this particular sport of canoeing. It's such a great sport and diverse, accepting for all sorts of people. And we just really know that this is a chance. We want to get people involved, and you can change people's lives little bit by bit.
Everybody else keep your time in person. You happy with that?
Well, I'm here with Partha and Segal, two of the students who've just finished the course here. What did you make of it, guys?
It was really amazing and rushed. When I first got on that, I was a bit nervous. I saw the water really heavily. I was like, oh, am I going to drown? Am I going to be all right? But when I actually got on the boat, when I actually went on the front without paddling, it was the adrenaline rush was amazing. Get to me. I'll try to do it every time. I will wish to come back here, close to me.
And you, Segal, how did you find it?
It was really fun. It was as I said, it was like a massive adrenaline rush, and it was thrilling. I never expected it to be like this, amazing. But yeah, and I'm happy that I came here.
Right, now, I'm guessing, it's an excellent place there, by the way, and well done to them, but I'm guessing that you would kind of imagine if you're going to go to somewhere like there's going to be loads of sporty people. I would imagine that you, listening to this right now, have not started taking up any sport because of the Olympics, or if you have, you stopped it around Christmas time. Am I right? I'm not wrong. Prove me wrong. You can't. I've got the facts. 08459 455 555. Is there an Olympic legacy for you? Are you now doing sports now? Not literally, because of the Olympics. Did you start doing, a bit of death ball? Was that one of the games in the Olympics? Death ball? Rollerball? No, that's a film, isn't it? Rollerball. Did you start doing one of the sports that was in the Olympics? Handball? And carried it on. You're carrying it on now. Not rollerball. That's the one where they run around on skates, isn't it? And kill each other. It's got that bloke in it. Anyway, 08459 455 555. Good film. Front page of the newspapers, shall we? The Independent. Hey, a man won a cycling race in a foreign country. Most of it was downhill. Consumers to pay dirty coal power subsidies for years. Setback for Britain's carbon emissions targets. Oh, blah, 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 blah. The Guardian. Man wins cycling race. Again, heroics from Froome. It's not heroics. Heroics are when you go into a burning building and pull a baby out. Heroics are when you're in Afghanistan and you protect some children with just a knife. Heroics is not going downhill on a bicycle. I'm really sorry, but it's not. The Times, man on a bike. Let's do one more, then we'll do the others a little bit later on. The Daily Telegraph. Oh, man playing cricket. Oh, for goodness sakes, enough! Enough! He's smoking a cigar on his bicycle. Well, that's not an image I want to see.
Take the last train to Clarksville and I'll meet you at the station. You can be here by 4:30, 'cause I've made your reservation. Don't be slow. No, no, no. No, no, no. 'Cause I'm leaving in the morning and I must see you again. We'll have one more night together till the morning brings my train and I must go. No, no, no. No, no, no. And I don't know if I'm ever coming home. Take the last train to Clarksville, I'll be waiting at the station. We'll have time for coffee, flavoured kisses, and a bit of conversation. Oh, no, no, no. Oh, no, no, no. Take the last train to Clarksville. Now I must hang up the phone. I can't hear you in this noisy railroad station. All alone I'm feeling low. Oh, no, no, no. Oh, no, no, no. And I don't know if I'm ever coming home. Take the last train to Clarksville and I'll meet you at the station. You can be here by 4:30, 'cause I've made your reservation. Don't be slow. Oh, no, no, no. Oh, no, no, no. And I don't know if I'm ever coming home. Take the last train to Clarksville.
Anyone dislike the music of the Monkees? I mean, shame on you. Shame on you. Morning, this is Iain Lee, BBC Three Counties Radio, 08459 455 555. It's 6:45. Let's get the travel news now. Here's Adam Glynn.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
If you're heading across to the M11 northbound, there's a lane closed because of a lorry fire between junction 7 at Harlow and 8 at Bishop Stortford. It's on the hard shoulder 3 miles north of junction 7. The fire brigade are blocking lane 1 though. Southbound M1, heavy traffic already from the Luton Airport spur toward Redbourne, junction 10 to 9. The M25, anti-clockwise slow as you go into the roadworks Waltham Abbey to Enfield. Slow again from the M1 to Kings Langley, and pretty busy from Maple Cross to the M40. If you're driving into London from the M40 onto the A40, there's a broken down coach on the A40 eastbound as you come toward Swakeleys roundabout near Uxbridge. On the trains, First Capital Connect disrupted from Sutton to St Albans and Selhurst to Bedford. This is overrunning engineering works at Streatham to the south of London. It's causing quite a bit of disruption, cancellations, and trains aren't starting and terminating where they normally would. Plus severe delays for the Metropolitan line from Harrow-on-the-Hill to Watford, and minor delays from Harrow-on-the-Hill through to Amersham and Chesham because of an obstruction on the line a little earlier at Croxley. Everything else on the Metropolitan line further into London is running fine. Adam Glynn, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Adam. 6:46. It's Monday, the 22nd of July. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. The father of Stevenage woman Amelia Arnold, whose boyfriend is due to be sentenced for her murder, says not enough was done to help her escape the violent relationship. A 19-year-old man has been charged with murdering 2 teenagers in Fishermead, Milton Keynes, 2 years ago. In sport, Captain Alistair Cook has dismissed talk of an Ashes whitewash, despite England taking a commanding 2-0 lead in the series. Coming up, after people were shouting at a potential suicide attempt at the weekend, telling a gentleman to jump, have we lost our compassion? 08459 455 555. Let's get the weather now. Here's Elizabeth Rossini.
Beds, Hearts and Bucks weather.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Hello, a very good morning to you. Today could be the hottest day of the year so far, with temperatures widely in the low 30s. There is a bit of mist and fog, some low cloud out there at the moment, and in fact a couple of showers as well. The showers will fade away. The mist and the fog will be burnt back to be replaced by lots of sunshine and some rather high humidity levels around as well today. So hot, humid, feeling really very muggy. Most places will stay dry until this evening, when we're likely to see a good few thunderstorms develop. Just the outside chance of catching 1 or 2 isolated thunderstorms during this afternoon, but if you're feeling a bit unlucky, you might want to take your umbrella with you, I suppose. Top temperatures today up to 31 or 32 degrees Celsius. I think it could be the hottest day of the year so far across the 3 counties. We might even see 33 or even 34, not completely out of the question, but that's most likely, I think, down towards the London area. So today, yes, very hot and very humid. Thunderstorms possibly developing through tonight's rush hour. Do watch out for some intense downpours. We may well see a bit of surface water flooding, quite a lot of rain within a short space of time, some hail and some thunder around at times too, and that risk continuing on into this evening and overnight as well. A very warm night tonight, temperatures not dropping below the high teens in Celsius. Tomorrow we've actually got a Met Office warning out for that rain from the intense downpours. Do take your umbrella tomorrow, I think you will need it, but it's looking fresher, also sunny for the rest of the week. That's the forecast.
Thank you very much.
Every weekday morning from 9, The JVS Show.
You just can't carry on with life. It's just awful.
With the biggest opinions.
It's about time somebody or an organisation has stood up and basically smelt the coffee.
Well, it depends on the individual, actually. Let's pollute the planet even more. We should pollute it so much your Pinot Grigio goes rotten.
And the biggest local talking points.
What we really need to do is for everyone in the country to reduce their energy consumption, not increase it.
The JVS Show. Weekdays from 9, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Yo no soy marinero.
silly, this song, isn't it, Justin?
No.
It's a silly song.
What's silly about La Bamba?
Well,
classic rock and roll.
Isn't he singing about a goat?
Oh, do you know what? It's not in the top 10 Iain Lee playlist. If it's not the Beach Boys, the Mamas and the Papas, or the Monkeys, or maybe the Fab Four, you're just not interested, are you?
Listen, Richie Valens, he has a certain place in rock and roll history. He's no Buddy Holly, and that's no Twist and Shout.
Come on.
Twist and Shout is the same song as La Bamba, but much, much better.
It's a fantastic song.
Yeah, it's all right.
It's brilliant.
I wouldn't go as far as... Speaking of songs, Justin, we have got something very serious to talk about in a second, so we will just bear that in mind. But... you had never seen Grease?
No.
We sat through an hour and 20 minutes of that on Friday. We got up to Born to Hand Jive, baby, boom, 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 and then we had to stop because apparently the TV room is not the TV room, it's the meeting room.
Well, actually, that was a very important BBC management meeting that we were kicked out of that room for. I saw the management walking past with a copy of your contract. That is all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Well, what did you think of Grease then?
Do you know what? On Friday, I was doing a bit of a Danny Zuko on you. I was a bit of a phony, a bit of a fake. I was saying, Iain, this is rubbish. I can't believe I'm sitting here watching it. But secretly, do you know what?
Go on.
I loved it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I took it home with me. I watched it again at the weekend. Mate. I absolutely loved it. What I want is a cardie with R on it. Can you find me one this morning? A cardie with R on it?
Listen, we have a lot of senior listeners who knit. Must be lots of people listening to this who knit. Can we? This is a genuine thing. Can we find a listener who can knit a cardie? What colour do you want?
White. I want exactly the cardie that was in the film. So we're looking for a white cardie with a red R on it. Exactly what Danny wore in Grease, please.
Dear listener, this is your chance to shine and give a cardigan to a very vain man. 08459 455 555. Can you knit a cardie with the letter R on for Justin Dealey?
And I'll pay for it, by the way. It's not a freebie. I'll pay for it. Come on,
there's cash. Now listen, the reason we got you on this is I saw this story at the weekend, Justin, and I thought it was incredible. On Saturday, a man climbed onto the ledge of the Mall car park in Luton in an attempt to jump off. The incident gathered a large crowd, as it would. A lot of people wanting to get back to their cars. But as time went on, can you believe this, Justin? The crowd grew restless. So some of them, not all of them, but some of them started shouting, "Jump!
Incredible.
Jump!"
I mean, how low is that?
This fella is in so much pain. I don't know the story, but he's in so much pain that he is thinking of killing himself. And these people are upset because they're not going to get back in time to watch EastEnders or have their tea.
Shocking.
And at 7:45, the gentleman jumped from the ledge. We don't know his condition. We will look into that and find out. I imagine it won't be great after that. Well, Justin, you've been out asking people if we've lost our compassion. What have they been saying to you?
Yeah, absolutely. Some very, very interesting views coming up here. I went down to the car park earlier this morning, been putting that question to people. Have we lost our compassion in this country? And this is what people had to say.
I think some people have, yeah. Yeah, that's an outrageous thing to do. I mean, the poor man has got problems, so he needed help, not encouragement to jump off. Sick people, very sick.
Are you shocked by people's behaviour?
No, I'm not. It's what's on TV, what's in films. They just pick it up from there. It's sad, really.
At the end of the day, that's somebody's son, that's somebody's friend.
Exactly. They should be encouraging him to go back to the standard way, but it's society today.
I mean, you work nearby, but you weren't actually here on Friday when people were shouting. If you were here, if you were walking past and you heard those people shouting jump, what would you have done?
They would have got a mouthful off of me. Yeah, that's me. I'll step in. If something's not right, then I will say it's not right.
And if those people that were shouting that are listening to this right now, what is your message to them? And be as blunt as you want to be.
It's shocking, outrageous. They should be ashamed of themselves.
People just get fed up with waiting, don't they?
But do you think, though, you say that people are fed up of waiting. This is a man who ultimately could be about to kill himself. Shouldn't we be a bit more patient and show a bit more compassion?
Well, probably, but they probably thought he was just after attention or something. That's probably why they done it.
Well, so on Friday, you came past the area, you saw the area cordoned off, you saw a crowd of people. You know that people were encouraging that man to jump. Do you think in this country we've now lost our compassion?
There are some who have and some who haven't. I mean, you know, people who sort of would encourage someone to jump off a building, they're pretty sad, I think. You know.
And you know people, from conversations you've had down the pub, people are coming out of work and taking photographs of the man on the floor.
Yeah.
I mean, how sick is that?
Oh, I think that is pretty sick. I mean, what would you do with a photograph like that? Take it home and show your kids? You know, it's awful.
They were taking pictures of the fellow after he jumped.
Yeah, apparently so. I mean, obviously, we know the facts. We know about people there that were encouraging him to jump. But what we didn't know, and that man again saying from conversations that he's had, people were definitely coming out of work, seeing what the fuss was all about. That's fair enough. But to then get your camera out or your phone out and take a photograph of a man who was trying to kill himself by jumping off a car park, that is pretty low as far as I'm concerned.
Sometimes, Justin, I despair at the state of... I really do. It's like when I was on the London Underground the other day and the train was delayed. I came over the Tannoy, the next train, there'll be a delay for the next train because someone has jumped in front of a train. And then people start going, for goodness sake.
We all get frustrated. We all get frustrated.
You're allowed to get frustrated, of course you are.
You know, if your car is in that car park and you're going to be late home, that's not an ideal situation for you. But come on, you know, there is somebody on top of that car park who is potentially about to kill themselves. They are that desperate, they're about to take their own life, and they're moaning because they're going to be late home for the weekend. I personally couldn't believe it, and the views this morning, I think that lady in particular was great, because she was saying, look, if I was here, I would have said something. How many other people would have stepped in and said, oi, what do you think you're doing? How dare you encourage that man to jump and try and kill himself?
Can we just put this out there? I bet we won't get any call. Maybe we will. If you were there, or if you think there's nothing wrong with shout and jump, bit of harmless fun. This fella's taking up all your time, wasting your evening. And you feel that you would be right to express yourself like that. 08459 455 555. We're also looking for a cardigan for Justin Dealey with an R on. Where are you off to this morning, Justin? I'm
going to be sticking around in Luton, I would have thought, to get some more views on this. A lot of people talking about it in Luton, people that were either there or they've certainly heard about it. Some more views to come. Have we lost our compassion in this country?
Justin Dealey, thank you very much indeed. It's like when you're stuck in a traffic jam on the motorway, okay? Then you see an ambulance sailing past. Oh, God, how selfish. Oh, I'm going to be late. Then you drive past a mangled car. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, you're going to be an hour late, 2 hours late. Tough. Someone's probably lost their dad or their mum, you know, or their husband or their daughter. That's what's important. 08459 455 555. I'd like to get your views on that.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
If you're heading across to the M11 this morning, northbound, there's a lane closed because of a lorry fire between junction 7 at Harlow and 8 at Bishop Stortford. The fire brigade are blocking lane 1 with the lorry on the hard shoulder. Southbound is starting to queue a little on the other side past that fire. People slowing to have a look. Junction 8 towards 7 is quite slow. Southbound M1 heavy from junction 10 Luton Airport toward 9 at Redbourne for the A5. Anti-clockwise M25 is getting quite busy from Waltham Abbey to Enfield into the roadworks section, then from the M1 to Kings Langley and from Maple Cross toward the M40. The A40, there's queues because of a broken down coach. This is as you head into London. It's at the Swakeleys roundabout, and congestion is already back to the end of the M40 at the Denham roundabout. And the A1 into London still looking slow through Boreham Wood, Stirling Corner to Mill Hill Circus. Taking a look at the trains, disruption First Capital Connect, overrunning engineering works at Streatham. Adam Glynn, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Adam, thank you very much. Coming up in the next hour, more on compassion. 08459 455 555. Here's the news and sport with Catherine Boyle.
On FM, AM, online and digital radio.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
Good morning, it's 7 o'clock. The headlines. Father of murdered teen accuses Stevenage Council of inaction. Man arrested for disorder outside Bletchley Mosque, and concern grows for missing Aylesbury man.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
The father of Stevenage woman Amelia Arnold, whose boyfriend is due to be sentenced for her murder later, says not enough was done to help her escape the violent relationship. Amelia told Stevenage Borough Council she wanted 22-year-old Jack Wall out of their home but was afraid of what he might do. He later beat her to death in front of their young child. Amelia's father Lawrence spoke outside the court.
More could have and should have been done to help my daughter Amelia. She was so scared of this man that she was unable to tell her family how she had been treated, and threatened that if she did tell anyone, especially the police, he would kill her.
A 19-year-old man's been charged with murdering 2 teenagers in Fishermead in Milton Keynes 2 years ago. Ahmed of no fixed address is accused of shooting Mohammed Abdi Farah, who was 19, and 18-year-old Ahmed Ismail. A 22-year-old man's been arrested on suspicion of racially aggravated disorder at a mosque in Bletchley. At around 3:30 yesterday morning, police responded to reports of a man throwing objects and threatening people at the mosque in Manor Road. Every household in the UK is to have pornography blocked by their internet provider unless they choose to opt out. The plans to be introduced over the next 2 years will be announced by David Cameron later this morning. Carol Walker reports.
The Prime Minister acknowledges he's treading into territory it's hard for society to confront, but says that as a parent and a politician, he believes it's time to act to protect children. In his speech today, he'll announce that family-friendly filters will be automatically selected for all new internet customers, though they can choose to switch them off. And millions of existing computer users will be contacted by their internet providers and told they must decide whether to activate filters to prevent their children accessing unsuitable material.
Police spoke to several people who encouraged a suicidal man to jump from a car park in Luton Town Centre on Friday. Motorists were prevented from collecting their cars from the multi-storey on Silver Street while negotiators tried to talk the man down. After a time, reports suggest the crowd grew restless and a number of people shouted jump. The man fell from the ledge shortly before 8 p.m. His condition is unknown. Thames Valley Police are growing increasingly concerned for the welfare of a missing man from Aylesbury. 21-year-old Kazim Awan was last seen at the YMCA in High Wycombe on Wednesday and reported missing last night. He's of Asian appearance and slim with short black hair. In sport, after 98 years without a Tour de France victory, British riders have now won the 99th and 100th editions of the race. Chris Froome succeeded Sir Bradley Wiggins in claiming the yellow jersey in Paris. Mark Cavendish was third in the final stage, the first time he's failed to win on the Champs-Élysées, and denying him a record fifth victory. The weather hot and humid with a possibility of thunderstorms and a top temperature of 30 degrees Celsius. Get the latest news and sport online at bbc.co.uk/3counties.
Iain Lee, BBC Three Counties Radio. We're getting reports. It's raining in some places. Yes, bring on the rain. Hey, I had a fun weekend. I remember what I did on Friday night. Was it Friday? No, it was Saturday night, okay? Saturday night, had the whole house to myself. Went out in the got home from a bit of Birmingham, then did Big Brother, then got home, went in the garden, put the rabbit in the run, went in and watched a bit of TV, had some food, a couple of hours. About 9:45, it started to get a bit dark. So I thought, I'm going to go to bed. Up early in the morning, going to go to bed. Went out, put the rabbit back in the hutch. The rabbit's only gone and escaped. The rabbit's gone and escaped. I then spent an hour chasing a rabbit around a dark garden. And the way I was doing it is I'd call it. You can't call rabbits. They don't like cats or dogs. You can't call it, okay? And then what I was doing is I would walk past it nonchalantly. The fact I'm being nonchalant around a rabbit. Walking past the rabbit nonchalantly and then kind of pretending I wasn't looking at it and then diving for it. I couldn't get it! It took me an hour to get that blooming rabbit. Imagine trying to build a rabbit out of punctuation. It's difficult, isn't it? Anyway, that thing's staying in that box. It's never coming out. It was a great story. Real life, real London. Morning, this is Iain Lee, BBC Three Counties Radio. Lots coming up, including, is enough being done to combat domestic violence? As a 22-year-old man from Stevenage is due to be sentenced today after being found guilty of murdering his 19-year-old girlfriend at their home. All this week on BBC Three Counties Radio, we're looking at the legacy, or otherwise, of the London Olympics. Did the Olympics leave a legacy? Are you doing more sport because of it, or have you forgotten it already? And on Saturday, a man climbed onto the ledge of the Mall car park in Luton in an attempt to jump off. Well, people were irritated, and I think that's quite understandable. Some people were shouting, "Jump!" which I think is outrageous. Have we lost our compassion, or am I being a little bit oversensitive about this? 08459 455 555.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
A 22-year-old man from Stevenage is due to be sentenced today after being found guilty of murdering his 19-year-old girlfriend at their home. Jack Wall killed Amelia Arnold in November last year. Her body was found 3 days later in a shallow grave in Woodland in Hatfield. He admitted manslaughter but denied he intended to kill her. The jury disagreed and found him guilty of murder at Blackfriars Court on Friday. During the trial, it was revealed he subjected Amelia to verbal and physical abuse on a daily basis for 3 months before killing her. Her father, Lawrence Arnold, made this statement outside court.
Right, I'd just like to say we are obviously extremely pleased with the verdict of the jury. They have taken time to go over the facts and have reached the correct decision, and I thank them for that. I would just like to say that more could have and should have been done to help my daughter Amelia. She was so scared of this man that she was unable to tell her family how she had been treated, and threatened that if she did tell anyone, especially the police, he would kill her. No one should be treated the way my daughter was prior to her death, and no matter what the outcome of the jury was to be, she was killed in the worst possible way, in my opinion. She was beaten to death. Nothing is going to bring Amelia back to us. We will never get over this tragedy. But in time, the loving, funny, beautiful memories of Amelia will overshadow this horrific period.
Oh dear, it really is one of the saddest stories. We won't go into the details, but it's pretty horrific. Well, listening to that is Peter Saunders. He's from the National Association for People Abused in Childhood. Morning, Peter. What do you make of this case?
Good morning, Ian. It's a tragic thing to be talking about on a Monday morning, isn't it? And we hear it so depressingly often, I'm afraid. And our hearts go out, obviously, to the family of Amelia. As for this young man who has perpetrated this vile crime, well, what can we say? He will presumably receive a life imprisonment sentence today. There's a child, I believe, who will be growing up without either parent. There are no winners to this, and I think, interestingly enough, I'm going to listen to David Cameron's speech this morning at the NSPCC, talking about how we can do more to prevent abuse in all its kinds. And what I suspect, and I could be wrong, but what I suspect is that the perpetrator of this particular crime probably came from a background of, shall we say, huge difficulty. There does seem to be a tragic cycle when it comes to people who perpetrate such crimes. It's unlikely that Mr. Wall would have been brought up in a nurturing, loving, caring family, which is every child's right. That isn't making an excuse for this horrific offence, but if we're going to prevent these kind of crimes, we need to understand something of the background of the people involved. And as I say, there are no winners here. It's all tragic, but you know, it's important to look at where these people came from.
We talked recently on this show about domestic abuse within young couples. Now,
Yes.
This young lady was 19 years old, and I've always thought that young people are so much more sensible than people of my generation. They know what's right, they know what's wrong, and they know that if you get slapped or, you know, someone keeps putting you down verbally in a relationship, to get out. But it would seem that message hasn't got through.
I agree with you, Ian. You think the younger generation, with the communications, with the networks that they have, the Facebook, you would think that this kind of incident and this kind of trend would be going in the other direction. My own daughter, who's just a little bit older than that, you know, she's got some friends who, you know, I remember as little tots, girlfriends, who have already been, a number of them have already been subjected to violence at the hands of boyfriends. And I look and I think, oh my God, what is going on in our society?
Why does someone stay there? Surely the first time, maybe not the first time, the second time the fella gives you a slap, or the other way around, the second time something happens, you go, right, that's it, you've had your chance, I'm off. Why do people stay?
Well, as a man, obviously, it's difficult for us to get it because, you know, we're not in that situation, although men are subject to domestic violence as well, I have to say. The case of Amelia, she felt too afraid to go to the police. Now, that says something, that she felt too afraid. She should have gone to the police, but from what I read on your website about this case, she went to the housing department because she was obviously living for some time. She was living from 16 or 17 years age, I believe, with this man. And she went to the housing department and she told them that she was being abused. Now, they should have acted. It's nothing to do with social services. They weren't involved. The police weren't involved. But whoever she told should have alerted somebody, the authorities, the police. She should have been taken into a refuge. There was a child involved. Clearly, once again, society has let her down. But I like you, Ian, I really think and hope that the younger generation are kind of getting it, and there's something still, sadly, greatly amiss in our society. And NAPAC, as you know, we've talked before, every day NAPAC hears from people on our free phone helpline who have suffered all kinds of abuse and domestic violence. And, it's got to stop. And I'm going to be very interested to hear what David Cameron has to say today when I go and listen to him.
We'll give out the phone number before you go, so people can go and get a pen and paper if they need to.
Yeah,
we talk about the cycle repeating itself. There is a little child here. I mean, she's a baby.
Yeah.
But she certainly saw the violence, possibly saw the actual murder as well. Now, while she may not consciously remember that, it's going to have an impact, isn't it?
It's going to have a massive impact, potentially, and I hope and I pray that child will be looked after. I have no doubt that Amelia's family will come around and look after that child. That would be the obvious thing for them to do, and I'm sure that they will. And with support and help, she may well, hopefully, have a very normal and happy life if she gets that kind of loving support and nurturing that every child deserves and has a right to. But you're quite right. Children who witness these kinds of events, these kinds of tragedies, whether it ends up in death or whether it doesn't end up in death, what goes into the subconscious, we know that it stays there. We know that it may re-emerge later in life and that they will need support later in life. And so to witness these crimes is absolutely one of the worst forms of child abuse.
Peter, if people want to get in touch, if they think they or someone they know might need help, what's your phone number?
Thanks, Ian. Yeah, the free phone number is it's 0800 085 333. That's 0800 085 3330. It's a 24-hour service, courtesy of our colleagues at the NSPCC, but the NAPAC actually runs the service from 10 in the morning until 9 at night. So if you want to speak to somebody specifically who is trained to deal with these issues, then call NAPAC between 10 in the morning and 9 in the evening.
Peter, thanks very much for coming on.
Anytime, Ian. Have a good week, mate.
Thank you. Bye-bye. There we go. Peter Saunders from the National Association for People Abused in Childhood. We won't go into the details of what happened, but rest assured, it's a pretty grim case, as any murder is, but this one seems particularly grim. 08459 455 555 is the telephone number if you want to give us a call. We're also asking this morning, have we lost our compassion? Fella was going to jump off, well, he did jump off a car park in Luton. People were shouting, jump. Facebook.com/BBC3CR. Susan says, that's horrific. Julia says, that's so sad. Wicked people. Fifi says, disgusting, but not the first time I've heard this. No doubt the incident was swiftly uploaded to YouTube. There are a lot of sick people in the world now. Perhaps we should bring back public execution to satisfy our lust for blood legally. And Richard says, disgraceful. My condolences to the gent's family. If you were there... And I don't want to go to... this fella did jump. I don't know what the condition is. We're trying to find out. And I don't really want to dwell on his personal pain. But if you were there, did you hear these people shouting jump? We heard... Justin spoke to a gentleman earlier whose mates were going out taking photos of the fella on the floor. Do you think I'm being a little bit oversensitive? If you would have been inconvenienced for 2 or 3 hours, couldn't get to your car, couldn't get home, would you have been thinking, oh, for God's sake, come on, mate, hurry up, do it, do something? 08459 455 555 7:15. Let's get the travel news now.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
On the M11 northbound, there was a lorry fire between Harlow and Bishop Stortford. Thankfully, all lanes have reopened. The burnt-out lorry on the hard shoulder. A bit slow on the other carriageway, though, as people were slowing past the scene. It's looking busy southbound from Stansted toward Harlow. Things looking quite slow on the A1 this morning. Coming to the Black Cat roundabout, there's a bit of a delay southbound. A1M southbound, heavy traffic hitch into Stevenage, and the A1 into London, slow round Stirling Corner. The M1 is busy from the Toddington services through to Redbourne at junction 9. A40, you've got congestion going into London past Uxbridge. There's a lane blocked by a broken down coach at the Swakeleys roundabout. Congestion is back to the Denham roundabout at the end of the M40. Very slow on the M25 from the M11 round to the roadworks at Enfield, then from St Albans to Kings Langley, and from Watford to the M40. A disruption on the trains. First Capital Connect affected Sutton to St Albans, Selhurst to Bedford. It's overrunning works at Streatham to the south of London, and the Metropolitan line tube down to minor delays now. Harrow on the Hill through to Watford after an obstruction on the line at Croxley. Adam Glynn, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Adam, thank you very much. 7:17, it's the 22nd of July. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. The father of Stevenage woman Amelia Arnold, whose boyfriend is due to be sentenced for her murder, says not enough was done to help her escape the violent relationship. A 19-year-old man has been charged with murdering two teenagers in Fishermead, Milton Keynes, 2 years ago. In sport, Britain's Chris Froome has won the 100th edition of the Tour de France. Coming up, we'll bring you the latest on the situation at Bedford Hospital. 08459 455 555.
BBC Three Counties Radio. Nick Coffer's Weekend Kitchen.
On Saturday, we brought you 9 quick and simple recipes for you to try at home. A delicious lemon and raspberry tart.
You come to an end of a meal and you think, I couldn't eat another thing, but funnily enough, you can slide down a slice of this.
Italian summer chicken.
It's a whole potpourri of different flavours all hitting each other at the same time. It's brilliant.
And a Cheats caramel and honeycomb dessert.
My children would just die for this, that's the thing. I'd have to keep stopping them going back and getting some more.
You can get all the recipes and listen to the show by going to bbc.co.uk/3 counties and follow the links to listen again.
08459 455 555 is the telephone number if you want to give us a call. You also go to facebook.com/BBC3CR. Now, Bedford Hospital has announced its A&E department will continue to treat children for minor injuries. This is getting very confusing, this. They keep flipping and flapping. Well, it follows the controversial decision to suspend a number of children's services, but this decision will mean children can be seen and treated for minor injuries such as stitching a wound or taking an X-ray. Acting Chief Executive Stephen Conroy says the hospital is listening to local people.
If there's any doubt, then you should go to the hospital where there's a full paediatric service. But lots of people said it would be very inconvenient for them, if the child has a small cut that might need a stitch, going all the way to Milton Keynes or Luton Dunstable is too much for them, and they wanted that service to remain local. We're very happy to provide that service. It's provided by our A&E doctors and nurses, not by the paediatricians. So we are keeping that service open. It may be confusing for some people. So if people do turn up at our A&E department in August and their child is ill, our A&E doctor, more ill than we can cope with because we can't admit to a bed, then our A&E doctors are fully qualified to assist the child, to make sure that they're stabilised, and then to arrange an ambulance to take them to the next nearest hospital.
So any child who is brought to A&E and needs observation or admission to hospital will still be transferred by ambulance to Milton Keynes or another neighbouring hospital. MP for Bedford, Richard Fuller, is happy with the news and thinks that local residents should be too.
I think they should look at it positively and see it as a step in the right direction. Now, it's always, perhaps it's one of the issues for the hospitals. They want to be clear in the message that they send, but equally, the people of Bedford want to see a return of safe, sustainable paediatric services to their local community. Today, I've spent a couple of hours myself in Riverbank Ward talking to the nurses, talking to the parents, and we have to remember we have excellent staff in an excellent ward here in Bedford. So our desire is to continue to use those facilities, and this is a very positive step in the right direction.
The hospital has also announced that ambulances will not bring sick children to Bedford's A&E department from this Sunday, but instead will take them to the next nearest hospital with a full paediatric service. There have been further concerns from patients and family members about the cost of getting from Bedford to places like Luton or Milton Keynes to visit family members in hospital. Well, the Bedfordshire Care Commissioning Group have responded by offering patients and family members help in getting to neighbouring hospitals from Bedford.
The GPs in Bedfordshire felt really concerned about the impact on families of the changes to paediatrics at Bedford Hospital. We know that any children that need transferred as patients from Bedford to any other place will be taken care of through the ambulance and transport system that way. But it's about the families who often can't afford the public transport or the taxi fares to get to places like Milton Keynes or Luton from Bedford that we were concerned about, and we wanted to minimise the impact on them. So this is transport that we're planning to lay on to help get families to visit their children and it's going to go from Bedford Hospital to hospital
Right.
and take families to see their kid.
That's Diane Gray, who's from the Bedfordshire CCG, and she's also explained the active role they're taking in managing the strain on neighbouring hospitals.
From the moment this started, from the moment we realised there were concerns, we contacted and all the other hospitals were involved and able to state clearly how much they could contribute, how much slack they had or how much scope they had to take on additional capacity and additional cases. Every day from the start of this, we will be monitoring and ringing up and speaking to every hospital to understand how much pressure they're under. It's called sit-rep. It's what we do in anything like this. We did it in pandemic flu. It's just something we do. When there's an emergency or a change in the situation, we ring round and find out how is it for you, where are the pressure points, and we adjust accordingly.
Call 08459 455 555.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Now, all this week on BBC Three Counties Radio, we're looking at the legacy of the London Olympics. 1 year on, has there been an increase in people taking up sport? Let me ask you, are you doing more sport? Are you doing more sport because of the Olympics? You're not? You're not? You're doing less sport because of the Olympics? Really? I can't think. Everyone got a bit of Olympic. I even got my bike out after the Olympics. I used it thrice. Thrice. That means 3. Are you doing more sport because of the Olympics? Less? The same? Well, the Lee Valley Whitewater Centre in Hertfordshire is giving school kids a go at learning the ropes in whitewater rafting and canoeing. I don't think you have ropes on canoes, do you? The Olympic venue, where Bedford's Etienne Stott won gold last year, is in daily use, with a number of successful legacy projects taking place. A post-games investment of more than £6 million means the centre can provide world-class facilities to young people and adults alike. Our reporter Barry Caffrey visited Lee Valley to meet the Secretary of State for Culture, Media and Sport, Maria Miller.
So I'm here with Maria Miller, Secretary of State for Culture, Media and Sport. The facilities here, how important are they here at Lee Valley for children to get to experience?
Well, this Whitewater Centre really is, I think, a fantastic example of the Olympic legacy, because not only is it giving kids the opportunity to come along like this through the school's festival, but also to give professionals the opportunity to come along and use the facility as well. So it really is elite sport, and also increasing the number of kids who are thinking of whitewater activity as a way of getting involved in sport.
Now, a year on from London 2012, is there really an Olympic legacy? It's what everybody is talking about.
Yes, and I think the centre today really shows that it's all about grassroots participation growing. We've now got more than 1.5 million extra people getting involved in sport since we won the bid to host the Olympics, and also supporting elite athletes as well, and seeing Tim and Etienne today here, showing their medals, inspiring the next generation. That's all about the Olympic legacy, and I think it's here plain for people to see.
And we've got a wide variety of children here, some of whom may possibly be the future stars, the future Olympic athletes, and others who may, come down and use these facilities a couple of times again. Is that good to kind of experience the wide variety of people that will come down here?
Absolutely, and fantastic to see so many young women involved in this whitewater activity as well. I know that our medalists were men, but we've also got young women involved in water sports, and certainly increasing female participation in sports at every level is something that I'm very focused on, and I think again a fantastic legacy of the Olympics.
Well, that was Secretary of State for Culture, Media and Sport, Maria Miller, speaking with our reporter, Barry Caffrey. Well, across the 3 counties, there have been sports makers who've been getting involved with volunteering. Joined now by Michaela Smith, who is Senior Sports Development Officer at the Bucks Milton Keynes Sports Partnership. Morning, Michaela. What did it take for someone to become a sports maker?
Good morning. Sports makers were really programmed to try and encourage people to just support activities in their local communities. So people signed up to attend a workshop where they came along and were inspired about the Olympic values and the Olympic movement. And then they committed to going back to their communities and running some activities.
So what activities are being run in communities?
Well, a real variety of activities. We've got people who are doing stuff at their work, so they might have set up a workplace jogging group or something. So after work or at lunchtime, people are going out jogging. We've got people who are organising...
Does jogging count as a sport?
It does, yeah.
Really?
Yeah,
I didn't think that.
Yeah. Then you've got activities like that right through to really big events that people have organised, mass participation events. And everything in between, really.
Have you seen things improve sports-wise since the Olympics, or has it kind of peaked and dropped off a little bit?
Well, I think that's a little bit inevitable with the hype of last summer, but generally I think the profile of sport and the opportunities to take part in sport are still very high, and I think the memory is still fresh for a lot of people from last summer. What's the
Olympic legacy across Buckinghamshire, do you think, Michaela?
Well, we've had significant investment in Buckinghamshire since 2011, over £3.5 million into facilities and programmes, so places for people to play sport and also opportunities to try something new, and a number of programmes like Sport Makers and the school games that give opportunities to young people to try new activity and to feel part of that Olympic spirit, really.
And are people actually using it?
Yeah, definitely. We've seen... as you say, we've seen nearly 500 people taking up the Sport Makers programme. We've had 1,500 young people going to the school games event, multi-sport event like a mini Olympics. So lots of people taking it up, and over 22,000 taking part in new activities just alone in Buckinghamshire.
Fantastic. Well, that's great. Michaela Smith, thank you very much for joining us. That's Michaela Smith, Senior Sports Development Officer at the Bucks and Milton Keynes Sports Partnership. And in an hour, we'll be meeting one of the volunteers to find out why she got involved. I'm keen to hear from you this morning. Have you done more, the same, or less sports as a result of the Olympics? Remember that last year? This the thing that went on for a few weeks, doing the Olympics and stuff, and the Who and Spice Girls and all of that. It was good, wasn't it? Have you done any? Have you changed? I'm doing literally no sports whatsoever in my life. I don't intend to. 08459 455 555. Keen to find out. Maybe you work in a football club or a tennis club and you've noticed more people coming in because of the Olympics. Give us a call and we'll speak to you in a bit. Right, travel news now. Here's Adam.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Some good news for the trains. Well, I say good news, it's still disruption for First Capital Connect, Sutton through to St Albans and Selhurst to Bedford, but the overrunning engineering work has been completed at Streatham. All lines are open, but it's residual delays of up to 40 minutes and cancellation still expected through until at least 8 o'clock, so for another half an hour or so there will still be disruption. Metropolitan Line Tube down to minor delays, Harrow on the Hill to Watford because of an obstruction at Croxley earlier today. M11 northbound slow after a lorry fire, Harlow toward Bishop Stortford. All lanes there have reopened. Quite heavy on the other carriageway though as people make their way south past that. The A1 is busy southbound at the Black Cat roundabout, slow on the A1M from Hitchin down towards Stevenage, and busy into London on the A1 in Boreham Wood around Stirling Corner. Southbound M1 is slow from Toddington to the A5 at Redbourne. The A5 is slow as you come through Markyate, and there are some delays on the M40. London bound is slow from High Wycombe at Junction 4. Very heavy from the M25 down to the Denham roundabout, and then slow as you continue down the A40 because eastbound there's a broken down vehicle at the Swakeleys roundabout in Uxbridge. Lane 1 was blocked off. They've managed to move that broken down coach out of the way, but the delays are still very much there. On the M25, slow in patches into the roadworks past Enfield, busy near St Albans and Kings Langley, and slow from Watford to the M40. Adam Glynn, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Adam, you're a young man, aren't you?
Reasonably so.
Yes, your age begins with a 2, doesn't it?
It does.
That's young. Are you doing any more sport a year on from the Olympics?
No.
Did you do any more sport immediately after the Olympics?
No.
Do you do any sport?
Yeah, meet up with friends, play tennis, play a bit of football now and then.
OK, but it's on the same level.
It's on exactly the same level.
So if we were to use you as a straw poll, the Olympic legacy is a failure?
For me personally, yes.
Adam Glynn, thank you very much indeed. Well, someone who's always very, very sporty and spent the entire weekend putting up a playhouse for her children in the garden. Sans roof. Avec temper. It's Catherine Boyle.
Across beds, hearts and bugs.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
Good morning, it's 7:30. The headlines. The father of Stevenage woman Amelia Arnold, whose boyfriend is due to be sentenced for her murder, says not enough was done to help her escape the violent relationship. A 19-year-old man's been charged with murdering 2 teenagers in Fishermead, Milton Keynes, 2 years ago. And police spoke to several people who cried jump as negotiators tried to coax a suicidal man from a ledge at a Luton multi-storey car park on Friday.
Three Counties Sports.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Britain's Chris Froome has won the 100th edition of the Tour de France, taking the title by more than 4 minutes. He linked arms with his Team Sky teammates as he crossed the line in Paris. Here's cycling commentator Simon Brotherton.
When Sir Bradley Wiggins won the Tour de France last year, it felt like the culmination of everything, an intense effort that carried over into the Olympic Games that immediately followed. But with this victory from Chris Froome, who was the runner-up to Wiggins last year, there's a feeling he may go on to achieve further success in the Tour. He's younger than Wiggins at 28, and often 28 to 32 are a rider's prime years. He was clearly the best all-round cyclist here and seems more likely to continue to be motivated to try to rule the race into the future. Mild-mannered off the bike, merciless on it, Chris Froome is the new face of the Tour de France.
England crushed Australia by 347 runs at Lord's to take a 2-0 lead in the series and tighten their grip on an Ashes victory. The hosts bowled Australia out for 235 late on the 4th day, having set them 583 to win after declaring on 349 for 7 when Yorkshire's Joe Root was dismissed for 180. Captain Alistair Cook feels predictions of a 5-0 series whitewash are premature.
It is obviously a concern. That's what it is. We've got a great medical team who will work non-stop over these next week to try and get him ready for Old Trafford. That's a big hole if he's not there. But if he's not available, then it gives someone else an opportunity to step up.
That's Captain Cook talking about someone being injured, which is completely the wrong clip. I apologise for that. Phil Mickelson's won Golf's Open Championship after shooting a round he described as the best of his career to finish 3 strokes clear at Muirfield. Mickelson started the day 5 shots off the pace, but a round of 66, 5 under par, gave him a first Open title and his 5th major. Finally, football, and MK Dons drew 1-1 in their friendly against Plymouth Argyle yesterday. Manager Carl Robinson described the match as a testing run-out, but praised the goalscorer Daniel Powell. And that's your latest news and sport. I'll be back with more at 8 o'clock.
Now, I mentioned the thorny issue of your children's playhouse.
Which, by the way, I didn't build. It was done by the fairies.
Oh, no, yeah, sorry, because the fairies did it.
The fairies turned up on Friday with a bit missing.
How long have you been waiting for this?
About 3 months. I think it's quite a trimmed-down operation. I think there might be only 2 fairies on it.
So it's 3 months late.
Yes.
And then they came when they built it, and the fairies said...
Well, no, the fairies came and said...
In a Polish accent?
They brought them from afar. They said, there's a problem. And the problem was there was a bit of the roof missing. So there was a bit of to and fro while we discussed whether the fairies would take them back to fairyland and come back another time. But then they said I'd be waiting another 8 weeks. So... I've got half a playhouse and an assurance from the fairies that they will be back without fail today.
That roof is so not coming today.
It better. I've covered it up with bin bags, but if it chucks it down, we've had it.
It is raining. It's raining in places.
It's not raining in my place.
Why
I checked as soon as you said that. I was on the phone.
Thank you very much. Back to your sprinkler. Now, why don't you listen? I don't know if you probably switch off the radio after 9 o'clock because it kind of slows down a bit. But the fella after me is not bad. JVC is pretty darn good. He does a consumer hour at 11 o'clock. I'm thinking, I know it's not about you're not a squatter living in a mouldy bathroom or you're not some old person.
It is a bit of a luxury problem.
It's a luxury problem, but JVS will be able to help you with that without a shadow of a doubt.
But does he do fairies? I don't know anyone who can help you with the fairy problem.
You would have to speak to him personally.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is Iain Lee.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
My tongue is in my cheek. It's a cracking show from 9 o'clock. And the consumer hour is superb. Just wonderful. If you've got a problem like that, you've had some fairies deliver a playhouse for the kids 3 months late and the roof's missing, exactly the kind of show you should be getting in touch with, JVS. You can send an email, jvsshow@bbc.co.uk, and you might find yourself on there. Incredible story at the weekend. And it really left me feeling depressed. Quite often I'm very optimistic about the state of the world. I think generally, the world is getting better. Generally, people are learning from past mistakes and getting better. Then I read a story like this at the weekend, it thinks, oh, for goodness sakes, we're going back to square one. On Saturday, a man climbed onto the ledge of the Mall car park in Luton in an attempt to jump off. The incident quickly gathered a large crowd as motorists couldn't go back to their vehicles that they'd left in the car park. Then, as time went on, the crowd grew restless, so some of them started shouting, "Jump!" at a bloke who's contemplating suicide. At 7:45pm, the man jumped. Now, we don't know the condition of the man. I'd imagine it's not great. But the horrible incidents made me think, have we lost our compassion? We're joined now by Iain Smith from the Beds Humanists Society. Good morning, Iain.
Good morning. It's not very compassionate phoning me at 6:30 in the morning to my radio programme, I'll tell you.
I know it's not compassionate, Iain, but I knew you were man enough to take it. Have we lost our compassion as a society?
I think it might look like it from this sort of incident, but I'm not sure trying to test that on the top of a Luton car park on a sticky weekend is probably a clever place to try it, really. But no, I think we've come on an awful lot. I mean, you look at things like capital punishment over the years, which we've got rid of because we realise it's probably just a bad idea, despite the fact we're all up there cheering to see people.
The thing is, you say that about capital punishment. If I were to do a phone-in now, and I never will because it's so tedious, if I do a phone-in, should we bring back the death penalty, 95% of the callers would say, yes, we should. So attitudes haven't really changed.
Well, I suspect if you sat those people down, and I heard you on a few minutes ago, and you were saying, well, all these people held up, shouldn't they be calling for him to jump? Well, you can understand that. We all say that as a joke, don't we? We've all done that. And then if you found out what the real family story was behind this, his wife may have left him, one of his kids may have been diagnosed with something nasty, you'd be feeling pretty sick about what you'd said.
Oh, yeah, no, of course.
And it's the involvement, isn't it? Once you understand, and if we'd have been in some sort of little tranquil rural village where everyone knows everyone else, they'd have said, oh, that's Alf, oh yeah, his mum died last week, and it will be there. So I think it depends on the family. No, there are things about our society that does worry me. I mean, you've got, when I grew up and I went out to work, women stayed at home generally and they looked after the kids, and now you can't survive. You've got to get out there, you've got to work, the wife's got to work, the kids are going to be stuck in with some childminder. We're losing the family involvement. People move all over the country. Well, my family, I remember all my relatives were around one particular area, about as far as you could cycle, and that'd be a lot. And we as kids have all moved away and got jobs elsewhere in the country, and it's very difficult now, if my mum's ill, for me to get back. It's 100 and odd miles. So I think there are problems in society, but as a society, we're being much more as a humanist, I look at things in a rational way. And, I'd be tempted to go and look at, what's wrong with this guy's life. And there was a trained negotiator there, so we shouldn't be imagining that these people probably did cause him to jump.
Oh no, and I'm sure they didn't. I'm sure and this is the thing, though. I'm trying to. Luckily, I have not been in as much pain as this gentleman obviously was. That one, the only possible option seems to be dangling off of a roof of a car park, thinking about ending it all. But I'm trying to put myself in his shoes, and you're at the lowest point you've ever been. Who knows what his backstory is? But then you hear a couple of idiots going, "Jump, jump." That is just awful, isn't it?
It is. It is terrible.
Whether it's done as a humorous aside to their mates or whatever, that shows no compassion.
It absolutely not. And again, it comes back to what I said. If they knew the situation, they might be feeling a bit sick now. This guy did jump. They're seeing it in the newspapers. Police have had a word with them. They may be feeling a bit sick about it themselves, and deservedly so. But you're absolutely right. And I think if we knew what the situation was, could be mental illness, it could be anything. We just don't know. If we knew that, we'd probably have an awful lot more compassion.
I've got two boys, Iain, 3.5 and 19 months, and I think, I know me and my wife are doing the best that we can, but how do we instill in our children that sense of empathy and compassion for other people?
I think you've clearly got a concern about it, and I suspect that because you're doing that, you will be doing a good job at home with the kids. I'm sure if you talk things over with the kids, when something like this happens, you do see the news because you're involved in it every day. And we do need to get involved with the kids. I mean, I remember my own kid was about 10 years old when there was that horrible story of James Bulger and those two boys came. And there was something on, I don't know, is it News Beat or something like that, or what was the kids' TV?
Newsround.
Newsround, that was it, yeah. And I remember my wife sitting in front of Newsround with him, because, we all thought that was a good thing for them to see what was going on. And they said, well, these kids were a bit young to understand what they'd done. And my son turned around in horror and said to me, well, I know it's wrong to beat a child to death. And, I think we can be a bit soft sometimes, but at the same time, as a humanist, we get involved in all sorts of things. We invited people in to talk about community sentencing. And, my view would have been that Daily Mail reader's view. Yeah, lock them up. Why should we waste our time? And then you realise, of course, that if they go to prison, they're out in a couple of months. If it's a drug-related issue, they certainly won't get any drug treatment. If they're on a community sentence, they will do. They'll be monitored for 2 years. They'll have to stay in. They'll get on some sort of programme. And you realise, you look at the data, there's less chance of reoffending if they're on a community sentence. And as soon as you see the data, you get the rational basis behind it, suddenly it becomes clearer. And you lose that sort of headline reaction that we all get. And like you say, if you get people phoning in about capital punishment, it'll be, string them up, why worry? Then you go and look at the data. If we had an intelligent debate, and I suspect we've got it coming with Europe as well, once we get into debate, I think people will start thinking, maybe it's not quite so clear. Let's look at the rational data behind it.
Damn you bringing facts and logic into an argument, Ian. How dare you do that?
Oh, I'm sorry, Belle. It's too early in the morning. I know where that roof is, by the way. It's been put on my house today.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, well, there you go. Just in time for the rain. Ian, it's very nice to talk to you. Thank you very much. Ian Smith from the Beds Humanists Society. Well, we sent our reporter, Justin Dealey, out to talk to people about this. Justin, what have people been saying?
Well, in the first hour, Ian, we even heard from people whose friends were leaving work and taking photographs of the man on the floor after he'd jumped from the car park. Incredible. So, in the first hour, people pretty appalled by it. I've been getting some more views. I've been asking the question, have we lost our compassion? And this is what people have had to say.
Disgusted. People should have more compassion for people that are in dire situations and they need help.
If you were here, would you have stepped in and said to those people, what the hell do you think you're doing?
I think I probably would have done. And wanted to know why they were encouraging someone to jump. It's ridiculous.
I believe so, yes. I think it's terrible the way that they try to head him on to jump, really. I think it's disgusting, yeah.
It does. I would be so surprised this morning, Justin, if we found one person who'd say, "Yeah, no, fair play. It's only a joke. It's only a joke. No, he's making me wait 3 hours to go and get my car. Of course, he should jump, the silly muppet."
No, I don't think we're going to find any of those, are we?
No, but people were actually saying it, which is I find so heartless. And cold.
People are just appalled by it. They can't quite believe how anybody. Yes, you're going to be late home from work, or you're going to be late home to see your friends and family. But at the end of the day, in the grand scheme of things, we're talking about somebody here who is about to take their own life. And when you hear stories about people saying, go on, jump, do it, I just find that incredible. We heard from somebody earlier who said, well, they probably did it because they didn't think he was going to jump and he was just looking for attention. Can you really take that risk when you got somebody who is that desperate, they may be about to kill themselves, and you're saying jump? Can you really take that risk?
Justin, going off on a quantum leap, some people will find this insensitive, but this is the way this show works sometimes. We have yet to find anybody prepared to make a white cardigan with a red R for you in the style of Grease.
Yeah, come on, there's got to be somebody out there. I watched Grease for the very first time on Friday. I was bullied into it. The reason I didn't watch it was because I didn't think it would live up to my expectations.
Justin, I have to stop you there.
Why?
We've actually got a news flash. Kate is in labour.
Whoa!
Kate is in labour.
Fantastic.
This is really, really not that exciting, but I'm doing my exciting news voice. I say a news flash. Catherine has just sent that to me via the internal messaging service, so she might just be bored. She could just be bored.
Well, it's about time. She's, overdue by a week now? So it's about time.
Something like that. No, 'tis fact, she says. Ooh. So, sorry, Justin, we have to knock your cardigan on there. Could you do any chance of a quick vox?
Yeah, go on.
Before 9... Are you that bothered by the royal baby?
Absolutely, I would do that for you.
Can you go and do that for us?
Yeah,
because I know that it's been on the front page of a lot of the newspapers. Get ready for the next week, the next 18 years of baby talk. And I wish her the very, very best of luck. Could not care less.
Why?
Oh.
You couldn't care less about Andy Murray, the first British man for 77 years to win Wimbledon. We've got a royal baby, isn't it lovely? And you're not bothered? Why?
2 millionaires have had successful intercourse. I've had successful intercourse twice.
Yeah.
So, do you know what I mean? I didn't get a round of applause. I didn't have photographers outside my hospital.
How would you feel if somebody said to you, "Oh, Ian, you've had a child"? No, I don't really care. How would you feel?
Well, as long as it wasn't my mum, I wouldn't be that bothered.
Really?
Yeah, of course. If a stranger phoned me up and said, "I don't care, you got kids," well, no, fine. Neither do I. I don't care.
Like to see people happy? No.
But why should we be happy?
Because it's a couple that clearly love each other. It's a royal baby. It's a special baby.
Okay, special baby. Okay, Justin, go and do some Vox. I bet people agree with me.
Okay.
Speak to you later on. There we go. So it's the breaking news. Sorry, we had to interrupt the chat about Justin's cardigan, but what's her name? Catherine, isn't it? Yeah. Catherine has gone into the early stages of labour. Well, with that news in our ears, let's get the travel from Adam Glynn.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Problems on the train still. First Capital Connect affected Sutton to St Albans and Selhurst to Bedford because of overrunning engineering work at Streatham. They've pretty much managed to finish the work. The lines are open, but residual delays of up to 40 minutes and cancellations still expected. Metline Tube totally back to normal Harrow on the Hill to Watford after the obstruction at Croxley early this morning. M11 northbound back to normal after the lorry fire. Southbound still busy past the scene of the lorry fire. So from Stansted toward Harlow looking quite slow. The A1, you've got patches of traffic, busy at the Black Cat roundabout, slow along the A1M past Hitchin and Stevenage, pretty slow coming down toward the M25 as well, and then slow within the M25 once you get on the A1 down through Boreham Wood toward Stirling Corner and Mill Hill Circus. Things looking quite busy on the M1 southbound Flitwick to Redbourne, junction 12 to 9. The A5 queuing around the Luton Road junction as you go pretty much past Markyate. Looking slow on the M40. London bound, you've got a bit of traffic at junction 4 High Wycombe. In toward the M25, it's eased up a little bit, and everything on the A40 toward London has eased a bit as well. The broken down coach now gone from the Swakeleys roundabout. M25 then anti-clockwise slow into the roadworks past Enfield at junction 25, busy from the M1 to Kings Langley, and slow from Watford round to the M40. Adam Glynn, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Adam, thank you very much. Right, 7:48. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. It's just been announced that Catherine has gone into the early stages of labour. The father of Stevenage woman Amelia Arnold, whose boyfriend is due to be sentenced for her murder, says not enough was done to help her escape the violent relationship. Police spoke to several people who cried jump as negotiators tried to coax suicidal man from a ledge at a Luton multi-storey car park on Friday. And in sport, Captain Alistair Cook played down talk of a first Ashes whitewash after England beat Australia by a huge 347 runs. 08459 455 555. Are you that bothered about the royal baby? Is it a load of old fuss about nothing? We'll talk about that and more after the latest weather with Elizabeth Rossini.
Beds, Hearts and Bucks weather.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Morning to you. We're a few towards southern areas of Bedfordshire, actually over Hertfordshire at the moment, towards the London area really. We do have some showers here at the moment. Some of them are quite heavy, but they're not expected to last very long. Certainly most places will be dry for most of the day until we get to a bit later on this afternoon when we're likely to see a few more thunderstorms develop. Not for everywhere. Most places will be dry for the rest of the day, as I said, until we get into this evening, that is, and then pretty widespread thunderstorms with some very heavy downpours indeed. But for most of us today, we're talking sunshine, humidity, some really quite oppressive heat, and possibly the hottest day of the year so far. Now, we could be looking at temperatures, well, in the low 30s, really quite widely, possibly as high as 32, even 33 degrees Celsius across the three counties. It's going to be very hot indeed, just a light wind, lots of sunshine, as I said, a little bit of low cloud to get rid of. That'll be burnt back by the sunshine pretty soon, really. As we head into this evening evening's rush hour, that's a real risk then that we'll start to see those thunderstorms develop. So some intense downpours, possibly some surface water flooding as the ground is very dry at the moment, some hail, some thunder always possible. The thunderstorms rumbling on through this evening and overnight, and indeed into tomorrow as well. A very warm start to the day tomorrow. We may not see temperatures drop out of the high teens or 20 degrees in many of our towns, so quite an uncomfortable night's sleep, I think, for many of us. And then into tomorrow, take your umbrella wherever you're going. There will be some very heavy downpours at times, still feeling quite humid tomorrow, but it will be fresher from Wednesday onwards. And also we're going to see lots of sunshine around as well, so I think much more pleasant for the second half of the week after today's really quite oppressive heat. That's the forecast.
Thank you very much.
The Games of the 30th Olympiad in 2012 are awarded to the city of London.
12 months ago, Beds, Hearts and Bucks went crazy for sports. But what happens when you're on? All this week, ahead of the anniversary of London 2012, Iain Lee and Roberto Perrone will be finding out how much our sporting lives have been affected by the Olympics.
That youth and community increasing participation is top priority for Sport England.
Was it just a phase, or are we all much more active in sports across the three counties?
No one would be into it as much as they are now. It's such a popular sport now.
Listen to Iain Lee and Roberto Perrone every day this week here on BBC Three Counties Radio.
08459 455 555. Now, cuts to bus services and post office closures in rural areas have led to some elderly people spending their final years in isolation. A report out today shows that half of the people in Britain who are older than 75 are living alone. It finds that the closure of local shops and the death of loved ones leaves many without support or social contact. Well, regular contributor to this show, if I can say that, is Colette McKeveney, Chief Executive at Age Concern Luton. Morning, Colette.
Good morning.
How these cuts in buses and post offices, how much do they affect elderly people?
I think they're absolutely crucial in terms of helping people maintain independence and quality of life. So I would say pretty dramatically for the average person.
And why is the post office so important? Because a lot of people see it as, it's just old people going there and having a natter. And it is a proper business, isn't it? You don't really want to get stuck behind that.
I think many post offices are also general stores. You know, they're the hub of the community. Particularly, if you look at any soap operas, sort of centred around corner shops and public houses. And if you're elderly, chances are that, you're frequenting more shops than you are public houses. They're just parts of the community that have been so important for generations. And I think, again, people who are shopping locally, they're not going in the car to a great big supermarket on the edge of town. The post office often combines that place where you get your money. People know stuff about you. People know your name when you walk in. They know who you are. They create a sense of community.
How big a problem is it, Colette, for old people being in isolation for the last years of their lives?
Whether they live in a rural area or an urban area like Luton, it's a huge problem. I would say the number one problem that we come across is people who are so lonely and disconnected from other people. That's even more of an issue than not getting the right benefits or even poor health. Because a lot of people who have got good social networks, people who know them, look out for them, are interested in them, may have the awful situation of not having very good health, and they may not have very much money, but they can still have a reasonable quality of life. What we need are relationships.
What can we do to help, Colette? But quite often you hear the line, go and check on your... if you've got an old neighbour, go and check on them, make sure they're OK. But I imagine some older people would see that as rude and nosy.
And you're 100% right, and that's one of the reasons why things like buses and post offices, they're public spaces where it's okay to talk. Somebody coming and knocking on your door and saying, "Oh, hello, Mrs. Jones, are you all right?" is altogether more personal. It implies that you're not coping as well as somebody else. So you're right, people can be offended by it. And in fact, a very dear friend of mine recently got short shrift for trying just that with his neighbour. She's very suspicious of him. So, basically, I think one of the big problems that we have is, as a community, we find it difficult to connect with people. We need those public spaces, those areas in which to do it. And, of course, that's really the key issue, providing opportunities for people. If you're an older person... Oh, sorry.
No, go on, Colette, go on.
I was going to say, if you're an older person and you are lonely, you are you are thinking, I would like to get out and about, and, you are in an area that's perhaps not got great public transport, it's a good idea to talk to your local Age Concern or your local Age UK. They may be able to help you, find some opportunities, for example, when maybe somebody's picking you up on a transport scheme. You don't sit at home and do nothing and be miserable. Life's too short.
Colette, thanks very much for joining us. Colette McKeveney, Chief Executive of Age Concern Luton. Well, this morning, Tim Wheeler is in for JVS, and he's asking, is it bad luck or bad planning if you're isolated in your old age? Right, shall we have a quick look at the front pages of the newspapers? It's all sports. Hey, do you know what? Tomorrow, when it's all baby, yes, she's gone into labour. When it's all baby tomorrow, I'll be longing for the days when it was all sports. The Telegraph. There's a cricket man, Joe Root. Oh, OK, his name is Joe Root. Wheels away in celebration after doing something well in cricket. And then there's a picture of Chris Froome smoking a cigar and a bicycle. Really? Also, the front page of the Telegraph, the story we're just talking about, and the one that Tim will be talking about, lonely lives of the rural elderly. Shop closures and bus service cuts causing social isolation, says report. Elderly people who retire to the countryside face spending their final years in isolation as villages suffer cuts to bus services and post office closures, a report warns today. I don't want to sound disrespectful because some people don't want to be isolated. I do. I want to be old. I'm going to make such a good old person. But I don't like people now. I don't want to see people now. So when I'm older, I just want to sit at home. I'm looking forward to the day, OK, when I'm old, I'm living on my own, I can finally catch up on everything that's on my Sky Plus. I can finally catch up with all my DVD box sets. I can finally catch up with all my video games. That's what I'm looking forward to. Sit there, pot of tea, from dawn till dusk, watching DVDs. Oh, bring it on. Bring it on. The Guardian. Tory strategist in new lobbying row and man wins bicycle. It's boring news today, isn't it? The Times, man wins bicycle race. The Independent, man wins bicycle race. Tomorrow, lady is pregnant. Lady having baby. Lady saw downstairs. The Daily Express, heat wave to trigger floods. Hottest day of the year today, but hail and storms on the way. And Madeline, new hope as British police get go-ahead to start searching Portugal. The Daily Mail, net porn block on every home. What? You got to phone up and say, yes, I'd... Internet helpline, can I help you? Yeah, I'd, having a problem with my router. Certainly, sir. What can we do? I want it to route pornography for me, please. Yes, sir. Certainly. So, let's have your name, Ian. Ian Lee would like to access pornography. Let's flick the switch. Ian Lee wants to access it. And The Sun, pop star has it off with lady who's not his wife. His wife gets angry. 08459 455 555. You've texted... Oh, Steve's texted in. The royal baby. The birth of a child is a beautiful thing. Not watching, obviously, that is quite disgusting. It is horrible. What they didn't tell me about, before my wife had our first baby, that sometimes, they use a scalpel. Episiostomy, I believe it's called. Oh. Steve goes on to say, it's a personal thing. Congratulations to Will and Kate, but please don't shove it down my throat. Hopefully by the time the nipper would be due to take the throne, the monarchy would have gone. I wish them the very, very best of luck. I'm not interested, and yet you know I'm going to be talking about it a lot this week. Oh, it's going to be tomorrow, Royal Baby Special. And on the subject of compassion, Lucy in Sundon says, if someone wants to kill themselves, why do it on a busy Friday afternoon in a public place? Attention-seeking, and yes, I would have been keen to get back in my car, do it in private. Oh, do you agree with Lucy? That they were attention-seeking. He jumped in the end. I don't know the condition of the fella, but he jumped. 08459 455 555.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
This morning on the M11, if you're heading across toward the M11 southbound, it's looking rather slow from Stansted and Bishop Stortford down toward Harlow Junction 8 to 7. There was a lorry fire on the northbound carriageway. That has since gone, but traffic remains on that southbound side and it's looking pretty busy. Everything quite slow on the A1, patches of traffic
Got first bit coming down to the Black Cat roundabout and the Barford bypass, then down the A1M it's slow from Letchworth to Stevenage and from Welham Green down to the M25, and the A1 into London then slow from Stirling Corner to Mill Hill Circus. The M1 is busy southbound from Flitwick to Redbourne, junction 12 to 9. The A5 still queuing between Lynch Hill and Luton Road. The M25 is slow both ways through the roadworks, particularly anti-clockwise, with delays tailing all the way back into Essex. It's slow Kings Langley to the M1 and from Watford to the M40 as well, and train delays for First Capital Connect after overrunning engineering work to the south of London. Adam Glynn, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Adam. Next hour of the show, we talk about domestic abuse and various other bits and pieces. But first is the news with Catherine.
On FM, AM, online and digital radio.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
Good morning, it's 8 o'clock. The headlines. Council accused of failing Stevenage murder victim. Man charged with Fishermead murder 2 years on. And Palace confirms Kate's in labour.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
More should have been done to help a Stevenage woman leave the violent relationship with a man that's due to be sentenced later for her murder. That's according to Peter Saunders from the National Association for People Abused in Childhood. He says 19-year-old Amelia should have been better protected by Stevenage Borough Council. A judge will jail 22-year-old Jack Wall after being found guilty of beating her to death in front of their young daughter, something Peter Saunders feels could have been prevented.
She went to the housing department and she told them that she was being abused. Now, they should have acted. It's nothing to do with social services. They weren't involved. The police weren't involved. But whoever she told should have alerted somebody, the authorities, the police. She should have been taken into a refuge. There was a child involved. You know, clearly, once again, society has let her down.
A 19-year-old man has been charged with murdering 2 teenagers in Fishermead in Milton Keynes 2 years ago. Ahmed, of no fixed address, is accused of shooting Mohammed Abdi Farah, who was 19, and 18-year-old Amin Ahmed Ismail. Police spoke to several people who encouraged a suicidal man to jump from a car park in Luton Town Centre on Friday. Motorists were prevented from collecting their cars from the multi-storey on Silver Street, while negotiators tried to talk the man down. After a time, reports suggest the crowd grew restless and a number of people shouted jump. The man fell from the ledge shortly before 8 p.m. His condition is unknown. Luton's mobile library service, along with the static libraries at Wigmore and Sundon Park, looks set for closure. Council officers have recommended the facility should go as the local authority attempts to save £600,000. Facilities elsewhere in the town will have their hours or staff cut back. In the past hour, Kensington Palace has announced that the Duchess of Cambridge has been admitted to hospital in the early stages of labour. She's understood to have travelled by car to the private Lindo wing at St Mary's Hospital in central London. Our correspondent Nicholas Witchell's outside the hospital and said there was likely to be no more news until the official announcement of the birth.
We think that she is rather overdue now. It's never been confirmed when her actual due date was, but certainly it's been believed that it was approximately 1 week ago. So if that is correct, we are now perhaps in the region of 7 days after the due date, so I think it would be expected that she would be admitted to hospital around now, but the significant thing is that she's not just been admitted to hospital, but that according to this statement from Kensington Palace, she is now in the early stages of labour.
In sport, Britain's Chris Froome has won the 100th edition of the Tour de France, taking the title by more than 4 minutes. He linked arms with his teammates as he crossed the line in Paris. And the weather, hot and humid with the possibility of thunderstorms and a top temperature of 30 degrees Celsius. Get the latest news and sport online at bbc.co.uk/3 counties.
This is Iain Lee, BBC Three Counties Radio. It's raining in some places in the Three Counties. Fantastic. Wonderful. Hey, she's having a baby. There's a baby. Yes, there's a baby. A little baby. But does anybody really care? We'll be talking about it a lot on here, and I suspect tomorrow, after I have been told off, I will be towing the line a little bit more. Until that moment, does anybody really care about the royal baby? I wish them the very best of luck. I hope it goes smoothly. I hope everyone's well and healthy and safe, because babies are wonderful. But, Do you care? Am I being a little bit miserable? 08459 455 555. Other stories this morning. We talk about domestic abuse. A 22-year-old man from Stevenage is due to be sentenced today after being found guilty of murdering his 19-year-old girlfriend at their home. All this week on BBC Three Counties Radio, we're looking at the Olympic legacy. Did the Olympics leave a legacy? Are you doing more sport as a result? And at the weekend, the man was, he did eventually jump off of a car park in Luton. Very, very sad story. What upsets me is that people in the crowd were going, jump! Get on with it! Because they couldn't get to their cars. Surely some things are more important than getting home to watch EastEnders and having a curry, aren't they? Have we lost our compassion? Getting a few different views on that now. You can go to facebook.com/BBC3CR. You can send me a text, 81333, start your text 3CR, or you can give me a call, 08459 455 555.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
22-year-old man from Stevenage is due to be sentenced today after being found guilty of murdering his 19-year-old girlfriend at their home. Jack Wall killed Amelia Arnold in November last year. Her body was found 3 days later in a shallow grave in Woodland. He admitted manslaughter but denied he intended to kill her. The jury disagreed and found him guilty of murder at Blackfriars Court on Friday. During the trial, it was revealed he had subjected Amelia to verbal and physical abuse on a daily basis for 3 months before killing her. Now joined by the Chief Executive of Women's Aid, Polly Neate. Good morning, Polly.
Good morning.
What's your thoughts on this story?
Well, it's a terrible case, and it's really frightening to think about what that poor young woman must have gone through, and the fact that she was unable to find any help or to find a way to leave him is absolutely tragic. I think what we need to remember is that in this country, 2 women a week are killed by their partner or former partner. And it really is a wake-up call, yet again, about the absolute seriousness of domestic abuse. The fact that, it's not a private matter, it's a serious crime, and it does all too often lead to death.
2 women a week is an incredible statistic. Do authorities do enough, Polly, when they're approached and asked for help?
I think that the agency that's often asked for help is the police, and what I would say is that calling the police is absolutely the right thing to do. Unfortunately, on the ground, the response from police is patchy, although the guidance from the top, if you see what I mean, is actually excellent. So there's really good practice is possible within the police service. It doesn't always filter through to the grassroots level, and definitely more training is needed. But there are quite a lot of local areas now where officers are really well trained. They understand how difficult it is for a woman to leave the relationship, and they're able to work with that rather than kind of be frustrated by it or working against it, which is incredibly counterproductive when any agency does that.
But the thing I don't understand, Polly, is the psychology of why people say... I've just finished reading the autobiography of the singer-songwriter Carole King, who's this wrote some of the best songs in the world, very determined, very rich, very powerful woman, and yet one of her husbands beat her up and she stayed with him. And I don't understand what the psychology is of staying with someone who does that.
Well, I think every case is different, but very often it is purely a matter of fear. It isn't psychology. It is simply that the most dangerous time for any victim of domestic violence is at the point of leaving or just after leaving. So if you're living with this incredibly volatile, dangerous person who you know can be triggered to extreme violence at any minute, one of the most frightening things is, what on earth will he do if he finds out that I'm planning to leave him? And leaving an abuser takes a lot of planning, particularly if you have children. But you have to plan somewhere to go where he won't be able to find you. That's why Women's Aid refugees, often their identity and location is secret. It's for a very good reason. And you know, it takes a lot of planning and it is extremely difficult. The other thing you have to remember, this isn't the psychology. I mean, I'm kind of saying, actually, it isn't psychology. It's much more understandable than that. You don't need to get inside another person's head to imagine how difficult it is to put yourself in the very dangerous situation of leaving. As this case that you were talking about shows, it was the fact that she was about to leave that has precipitated what happened. And you know, that is unfortunately, extremely common. The other thing is, it's very difficult to understand the level of control that can be exerted by an abuser, by a perpetrator of domestic violence. They can control, and again, this case illustrates, she had no money of her own at all. They can exert extreme control over every aspect of their partner's life, and this is built up over quite some time. Initially through trust and the kind of trust that is normal in a relationship, but it gradually builds up so that often a victim has no control over their life at all, and that makes it much more difficult to leave and much more difficult to keep anything secret.
I was surprised by the ages. She was 19, he's 22. They're just kids, really, aren't they? Yeah. Is that common at that age?
Yeah, it is. And some local areas are saying that the biggest group now that they're concerned about in relation to domestic violence is young people, so by which I mean kind of over 16s, but under 20s. So, yes, domestic violence is common in relationships between younger people, unfortunately. And what some research has shown is that young men and women don't have a clear idea of what a healthy relationship is like, or what constitutes abuse in a relationship. So just as a quick example, a quarter of 16 to 18-year-old girls in one survey didn't understand that being coerced into sexual acts that they didn't want to do was abusive. They didn't see that as being abuse. Now, so it's really important that we're making young people aware of what a healthy, positive relationship is like.
Polly, if someone is in a relationship now and they want out for reasons like this, where should they go? What should they do?
They should call the National Domestic Violence Helpline, 0808 2000 247. And there are trained people from Women's Aid on the end of that line who can help you to plan how to leave. If you're in immediate danger, you should call 999. If somebody you know is in an abusive relationship, there's lots of information on the Women's Aid website. There's the National Domestic Violence Helpline, which I just gave out. But also, it's really important, don't just say to a woman, just leave him. It's just not helpful. She needs to plan that very, very carefully. And also, don't confront the abuser. So however angry you feel if someone you care about tells you they're in an abusive relationship, don't just storm round there and confront the abuser.
That's just going to make things worse.
Yeah, it could well do, yeah.
Polly Neate, thank you very much indeed, from Chief Executive of Women's Aid. That phone number again, 0808 2000 247, if you're in a situation and you'd like some help.
Call 08459 455 555.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
The royal baby is on its way. Sing hosannas. She has gone into labour. Are you excited by it? There will be people genuinely excited by it. My mum will probably be quite excited by it. I'm struggling. I'm really struggling. I wish them the very, very best of luck. Of course I do. I hope it's healthy. It'll be wealthy. And I hope everyone comes home safely. But I find it very hard to get excited about a stranger's baby being born. I find it quite difficult, if I'm honest, to get excited about friends' babies being born. Do you know what I mean? It's nice for them. Oh, Steve and Claire are having a baby. Oh, that's nice. Should we get them something? Yeah, sure. This, 20 quid? Yeah, no. Oh, okay. Yeah, nice. Buy them some muslin. That'd be nice. Should we go and see the baby? It's Steve and Claire's baby. Is it? Yeah, let's go and see it. But that's it. These are my friends I'm talking about. Imagine how detached I feel from the royal baby. What do you think? Am I being a grump? I'm happy to take criticism on this. Am I just being grumpy? 08459 455 555. Maybe you are over the moon that there's going to be a royal baby born. Isn't it? Maybe you think that's so exciting. Or maybe you're doing a collective shrug of your shoulders because you could not care less. I warn you now, we'll be talking about it all week. All week, my friends. Yes, all week. 08459 455 555 is the phone number. You can send me a text as well. 81333. Start your text 3CR. Or you can go to the Facebook page, facebook.com/BBC 3CR, and have your say. Lots of you having your say about compassion on the Facebook page after this story of a fella jumped from a building in Luton at the weekend. Some people were shouting, jump. Let's have a look, see some of the comments here. Dawn says, that's terrible. My deepest condolences to the family and those who encourage him to jump murderers. Let's have a look. Too many suicides just recently, says Luann. Only last week somebody jumped in front of a train at Flitwick. A few weeks ago another did the same. Why? It's a permanent solution to a usually temporary problem, as my well-adjusted 14-year-old said to me. I feel sorry for those they leave behind. Well, at the time, most of these problems are solvable, most of them. At the time, though, you don't see it. You're stuck in that pit of despair, and you don't see it as being potentially solvable. 08459 455 555.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Still some disruption for First Capital Connect this morning on the trains, Sutton to St Albans and Selhurst to Bedford. There were overrunning engineering works at Streatham to the south of London. Everything's open, but residual delays of up to 20 minutes and some cancellations still to be expected. On the roads, we're not doing too badly. It's quite slow if you're heading across to the M11, southbound from Sandsted and Bishop Stortford at Junction 8 toward Harlow at Junction 7. The A1 looking busy at the Black Cat roundabout, heavy along the A1M from Letchworth to Stevenage, then stop-start on the A1 as you come from Stirling Corner to Mill Hill Circus through Boreham Wood. The M1 looking slow southbound from Flitwick to Redbourne, the M25 slow both ways through the roadworks. Anti-clockwise, the delays now tail back into Essex. Clockwise, it's looking slow round Junction 22. It's also busy anti-clockwise as you continue round from the M1 to the M40, Junction 21 to 16. It's slow and it's stop-start the whole way through that stretch. Adam Glynn, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you very much. Tim,
it's a bad start,
Tim,
isn't it?
There's radio etiquette.
You're listening to the news with Iain Lee.
For goodness sakes, I've got to go into something very, very heavy now and just... Tim's here and he's in for JVS and he should be soundly thrashed in a second. Right. Good morning, it's 8:17. It's Monday the 22nd of July. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. It has been announced that the Duchess of Cambridge has gone into labour. On the day, a 22-year-old Stevenage man is due to be sentenced for the murder of his 19-year-old girlfriend. A national charity is accusing the Borough Council of failing to protect her. Police spoke to several people who cried jump as negotiators tried to coax a suicidal man from a ledge at a Luton multi-storey on Friday. In sport, England cricket captain Alastair Cook says it's too early to contemplate an Ashes whitewash, despite England taking a commanding 2-0 lead in the series. Coming up, we're sending our reporter, Justin Dealey, live to the streets to see if anyone cares about the royal family. That's coming on its way soon.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Every weekday from 12, Nick Coffer brings you
great guests.
Julian Clary, welcome to BBC Three Counties Radio. Legendary Genesis guitarist Steve Hackett, Supertramp frontman Roger Hodgson, Carol Decker of Tapao fame joins me now.
Great conversations.
China in your hand is about the fragility of your dreams and that you should be careful what you wish for.
Something very addictive about making people laugh is standing on stage and every few seconds getting that hit of a laugh.
Nick Coffer.
Weekdays from 12.
On BBC Three Counties Radio.
Now, I'm angry. That's a nice shirt, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
You wear nice shirts.
I own 3 shirts.
Wowzers.
3 shirts, and I've owned 2 of them for 4.5 years, and I've owned this one for a year.
I bought my first belt. I haven't bought a belt for 20 years. I think the last belt my mum bought me, okay? And because I get belt anxiety, having never bought a belt, I don't know how to buy a belt.
What do you get anxious about, Ian?
I get anxious about... What I do is I don't know what size belt I am. So I would go up into a shop and I'd get a belt off the rack.
40 something.
But they don't say that, though, on belts. So I'd go into a shop, I'd get a belt and I'd wrap it around me and think, well, that might fit. But then, of course, I'm putting it around my belt.
Well, you leave it... You leave your belt on and put another belt around the outside.
Otherwise...
Why don't you just get up, belt straight off? You see, I've done that before.
Yeah.
Get your new belt.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to talk the whole thing through because it'd be obvious just putting on a belt, isn't it? But why don't you take your belt off and then try the new belt?
Anthony Worrell Thompson is all I'll say to you. I am worried that someone's going to think, hey, there's that bloke who used to be on... He's
Anthony Worrell Thompson, he's still on TV, isn't he?
No, me. I'm talking about
you?
Yes.
Oh, were you on TV?
I used to. Yeah, no.
No, I know you were. I liked you.
He's stealing a belt. And then you got security. Then you've got a belt around you that doesn't belong to you, and you go to the well, I was just trying it on. Yeah, of course you were, mate. Of course you were.
So you don't try on belts because you're worried about being thought of as a belt thief?
Yes. Well, I bought one the other week, and I am very, very proud.
Can I see what you've got?
There we go. It's a black leather belt, cheap leather.
Yeah.
It's got a silver buckle. It's from the Gap.
Can I sniff it?
Yeah, of course you can sniff.
Let me sniff that.
No one saw that, just us.
No, the smell was masked by other things. But morning to you, so we nearly have a royal baby, apparently. How long does it take, Labour? Is that half an hour, 3/4 of an hour?
It should be. It'll be done by your show, yeah.
Brilliant.
They just pop out.
I don't know what I'm going to say about it, though.
Are you excited? You work for the BBC. Are you excited? You work for the BBC.
Yes. No, maybe I'll just say, effectively the listeners are paying for me to be here, so would you like me to talk about the royal baby? You can decide with... Anyway. That's not what we're talking about.
Hang on a second, but the question is, why are you here? Where is JVS? Has he taken a week off without asking me for permission?
JVS has taken a week off without asking you or I for permission. I don't think he's going away. I think he's sat in his pokey flat in his pants.
He really does get.
But there you are,
doesn't he?
But I am here, and I shall be doing the big phone in from 9 o'clock this morning, and going to be asking: is it bad luck or bad planning if you're isolated in older age? Older people who choose to retire. Put emphasis on that, choose to retire to the countryside, may face spending their final years in isolation. That's according to Age UK. You had Colette McKeeven on earlier this morning, didn't you?
Yeah.
They say that 50% of those over 75 will end up living alone. And cuts to bus services and post office closures mean many people feel cut off from the outside world. And the charity is warning government officials they need to take tough decisions to keep rural communities alive. And you're ringing JVS, aren't you? Yeah, you're ringing JVS. Yeah.
Well, I want to. He can't even bother to answer.
He's going to be asleep, isn't he?
It rang.
He's not checking up on us.
It rang.
Don't leave a message.
It rang.
Are you leaving a message?
Of course, I'm leaving a message.
What are you going to say?
Well, first, several things. Several things have annoyed me, JVS.
Morning, John.
First things first. You've taken a holiday without asking me.
Yeah.
So Tim's in, and I'm a big fan of Tim, but you should have told me. Secondly, that phone rang and you didn't answer it.
He's asleep.
Why would you leave Why would you leave your phone to ring and not answer it? He looked at it and went,
in case there's an emergency.
It's Ian Lee. I'm certainly not going to... I'm not going to answer that.
No, he's got it on for emergencies. Is this an emergency?
This could be an emergency. She's having a baby.
That's not an emergency.
Okay.
Now listen, let me very quick. I know I'm running out of time now. I can't even sell the show because you've been ringing JVS.
Be with you in a second, Dealey.
Yeah, no worries.
Tim won't shut up.
All right, just bear with me. Not my fault, mate. But let me just tell you about my grandparents very quickly. Thanks, Justin. Sorry. Can you at least close Justin? This is a shambles.
I know. It's an omni shambles. The fader's stuck.
The fader's stuck. Brilliant. Justin, just be quiet for once in your life.
Yeah, make it interesting for the first time, yeah, Tim.
Oh, I feel totally undermined. My grandparents lived in rural Wales, okay?
Yeah.
When they got to the age of 70-something, my mum said to them, you're going to have to move to Hitchin because there's no post office where you live. There were no bus services. My grandpa's diabetes meant that he couldn't drive because he started to lose his vision.
Yeah.
So eventually they came to a compromise. They didn't want to move to Hitchin because it was a town and they were used to the countryside. They moved to Shillington, which is about a half-an-hour drive from Hitchin. There was no supermarket. There was one post office. And my mum ended up spending nearly every day driving to their house. To take them shopping, to bring them things, to fix things around the house. Was that their own fault? Should they have just moved to Hitchin? If you're living in a situation, in a rural situation, rural idyll that you want to live in, but you have got no supermarket and you've got no bus stops, Is it bad planning? That's what I'm going to get to.
Confused.
Is it bad planning?
Do you start now or do you start at 9 o'clock? Because it just feels...
08459 455 555.
It just feels that...
That was a big sell. That was a big sell.
He's kicked a chair. It just feels that he was really, he was in for ages. It wasn't the greatest anecdote, was it?
No.
I might as well have gone. I do apologise, Justin.
I think Tim was sick that day. We went on that course on how to plug your programme.
Justin Dealey, babies. The Duchess of Cambridge has been admitted to St Mary's Hospital in London in the early stages of labour, Kensington Palace have said today. She travelled by car, from Kensington Palace to the Lindo wing of the hospital with the Duke of Cambridge. Well, Justin, we've sent you out to see if people care, and do they?
Yeah, well, you were saying earlier on that you don't care in the slightest, do you? You've got no interest in this. I think it's a great day. It's a great day for the nation. We should all be excited. But I have to say, on this occasion, and it's the second time I've said this now in a week, that you're absolutely right. Certainly speaking to people already in the last 30 minutes, they totally agree. I've been asking people, are they bothered about the royal family? And this is what they had to say.
Not at all. I care more about how I'm going to eat. She knows how she's going to eat. I don't.
Really? So you don't care in the slightest?
No. Does she care about me if I have a baby?
She might do.
I don't think so. I don't think so. She wouldn't know who I was, so she wouldn't care about me. I don't care about royalty. I think we should scrap them, yeah? Scrap them and put the money into the country where it's needed.
Have you had a bad weekend?
No? Brilliant.
No, I didn't even know who she was.
You didn't even know who she was?
No.
Are you being serious?
Yeah.
He is, yeah.
Are you excited?
No.
Why are you not excited? It's the royal baby.
Don't care.
Not really. Not at all, no. I don't.
Can I ask why?
Well, I'm not into the royal family, and a lot of people I know, you open the paper and all it is the footballers, the royal family. What about normal people? Like my daughter's had a baby, there was no big, Jim's family is having a baby, and, but if you're into the royal family and things like that, all well and good, but I'm not.
So when you read it in the newspapers, you'll quickly turn over?
Well, I don't even read it, I just go to the telly page, the stars, and that's pretty much it, really. The rest is just world news that I'm not interested about, so...
Thanks for being honest.
Right.
Whoa, Jim's family had a baby?
They did.
Whoa, we're supposed to be local and vocal. We missed Jim's family having a baby.
We missed that. Well, I'm going to speak to this lady here randomly on the street. Madam, what's your name?
Tracy.
Tracy, I have some very, very exciting news, OK? Stand still. Brace yourself for this. The royal family... are bracing themselves because the royal baby is on its way. Are you excited? Come on, please, you've got to be.
Yes, of course. It's a good summer, isn't it? It's fantastic with the sport and now the royal family. The baby's on its way.
So when you see the pictures later on, you'll be jumping for joy, maybe having a party or something?
Well, I hope so, yes. Let's get into the spirit of it all.
I mean, so many people I've spoken to already in the last 30 minutes have been really negative. No. Why do you think some people are so negative about the royal family and the royal baby? What's going on?
Oh, because there's a recession and but you've got to separate the two, haven't you? It's good for the monarchy, it's good for England, it's good for Britain.
Good for you. Nice tan, nice glasses, nice dress. Take care.
Thank you very much.
Have a good day. There you go. She's excited, and somebody randomly on the street there, but most people so far, Ian, agree with you. They couldn't care less. We've got to find some people before 9 who are actually genuinely very excited about this breaking news.
And there must be people excited. I do feel a bit of a party pooper, but you remember the Jubilee and the royal wedding? Huge crowds. People do get excited by this kind of thing.
Well, I am as well. I'm excited.
You surprise me.
Why?
Well...
in this country...
Yes, we are.
We've got lots to be proud about, and the royal family...
Breaking news, we're in this country. Yeah, I know, Justin,
but
great.
Come on, it's the royal family. It's a couple that love each other. They're going to be having a baby together. It's something... It's something we should be celebrating, Ian. Come on.
But the thing is, you don't know why we should be celebrating.
But it's something that the whole world's going to be talking about. Surely that's a good thing,
The whole world talked about Hiroshima, but we shouldn't be celebrating it. Do you know what I mean?
But this is something to be happy about. As a nation, a lot of people down in the dumps right now. This is good news. Surely it might actually make people smile.
Justin, I bet you can't find many more people this morning before 9 who are up for it.
I shall try.
Thank you very much, Justin Dealey. Out and about on the street. I am being a little bit grumpy. I'm not even particularly anti-royalist. I have a soft spot for the royal family, so I don't think I'm, some socialist saying we should all hang them up from lampposts. Not at all. And I wish them the very, very best of luck. A baby being born is literally a miracle. It's not, it's science, but it's a miracle. So I wish them health and success and joy. But I don't care. 08459 455 555.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Still pretty slow on the M11 southbound after the lorry fire on the northbound carriageway earlier caused a bit of congestion. Stansted and Bishop Stortford at Junction 8 toward Harlow at Junction 7. The A1, as you come down to the Black Cat roundabout, there's a bit of a queue. Barford Bypass looking a little slow round the roundabout as well. The A1M heavy from Letchworth to Stevenage, and the A1 into London stop-start from Stirling Corner to Mill Hill Circus. Patches of slow-moving traffic on the M1. It is busy from Junction 13 at Bedford toward 11 at the A505. The M40 is slowing up on the London-bound side from Stoke-on-Church toward High Wycombe, Junction 5 to 4. M25 slow both ways through the roadworks. Anti-clockwise, it's tailing right back into Essex. Clockwise is slow around Junction 22 for St Albans and London Coney. And then anti-clockwise, you've got a delay from the M1 through to the M40. Bit of disruption on the train still. First Capital Connect. It's all because of overrunning engineering work at Streatham to the south of London. Adam Glynn, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Adam. 8:30. News and sport now. Here's Catherine.
Across beds, hearts and bugs.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio. Good morning. The headlines. On the day a 22-year-old Stevenage man is due to be sentenced for the murder of his 19-year-old girlfriend, the Borough Council's being accused of failing to protect her. A 19-year-old man has been charged with murdering two teenagers in Fishermead in Milton Keynes 2 years ago. And Kensington Palace has confirmed the Duchess of Cambridge has been admitted to St Mary's Hospital, where she's said to be in the early stages of labour.
Three Counties Sports.
BBC Three Counties Radio. Team Sky's Chris Froome has won the 100th edition of the Tour de France. He took the title by more than 4 minutes and linked arms with his teammates as he crossed the finish line in Paris. It's Britain's second ever victory in the race after Sir Bradley Wiggins' triumph last year. After the race, Froome addressed the crowd gathered in the Champs-Elysees.
This is a beautiful country with the finest annual sporting event on the planet. To win the 100th edition is an honour beyond any I've dreamed. This is one yellow jersey that will stand the test of time. Thank you.
England's cricketers thrashed Australia as they secured a 2-0 lead in the Ashes with a 347-run victory at Lords. Spinner Graham Swann finished with figures of 4 for 78, while Joe Root also took 2 wickets after he made 180 with the bat. Root, though, refused to take the credit for the win.
I think if you'd have said that this is what the score would be 2 weeks ago, we'd have definitely snatched your hand off. So, I think the best thing is, the most pleasing thing is everyone's contributing and everyone's playing well and playing the part. So hopefully that can continue throughout the rest of the series and we can continue to kick on.
Phil Mickelson's won Golf's Open Championship after a stunning final round at Muirfield. The American scored a 5-under par 66 to leave him 3 under for the tournament. He finished 3 shots clear of wrapping up his win with a birdie on the final hole.
The ball is on its way towards the hole. Will he finish with a birdie? He will! Oh, Phil Mickelson has played like the Open champion from his opening tee shot.
And finally, football. MK Dons drew 1-1 in their friendly against Plymouth Argyle yesterday. The manager, Carl Robinson, described the match as a testing run-out, but praised goal scorer Daniel Powell. And that's your latest news and sport. I'll be back with more at 9 o'clock.
Yeah, nice one.
Thanks.
Email
3cr@bbc.co.uk.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
08459 455 555 is the telephone number if you want to give us a call. Royal babies and Olympic legacy all coming up. But before that, David Cameron will give more details later today about how he plans to make the internet safer to help prevent child abuse online. He is expected to say that one of the steps will be for all internet customers in future to have family-friendly settings as a default. We can get more on this from our our reporter, Gavin Lee. Good morning, Gavin.
Good morning, Ian.
You have a blocked ear, I believe.
I'm a bit grumpy today.
Oh,
These
dear.
things happen, don't they?
They do. Get some oil in there, some hot oil.
Yeah, it sounds great, doesn't it?
He is grumpy.
This morning as well.
I've never heard you miserable. Now, listen, talk us through the main points in his speech today.
Yeah, well, it's covering a huge area. It's covering adult pornography. It's covering extreme pornography. It's pornography depicting rape, which is currently legal. There is a sort of a loophole here that you cannot go into a shop and buy pornography depicting rape, but you can access it online. So David Cameron will say a law will be passed this year to stop that, and also child abuse images, which are resolutely criminal. It's pretty sensitive stuff for this time in the morning, but what he'll say on the most serious matter is that he'll try to stop illegal illegal child abuse images appearing on the internet, and he's announced that yesterday, on a sort of prelude to all of this, he spoke to Andrew Marr's programme and said that he's tried to put pressure on the likes of Google, Yahoo and others to get them to do more to stop results appearing when people type in grotesque and appalling searches relating to child abuse. He'll also get the CEOP squad, the Child Exploitation Online Protection team, to work more with police and work alongside police and give them more powers. Plus, the thing the papers have all picked up on is this filter that anybody who buys a new computer or goes with a new internet service provider will have an automatic filter in place so that children cannot be exposed to pornography, but it means as an adult you will have to actively sign up to, and ask for the bar to be lifted.
This is going to be welcomed by lots of families who've been worried about this kind of thing, but there are concerns registered by civil rights activists saying it's encroaching on people's personal liberty.
Yeah, there are two strands to this. One is that for those human rights groups that say pornography in the mainstream is perfectly legal, it's the second biggest searched for term on Google in the UK, and this is conflating two issues, pornography with child abuse, and in the same speech it's perhaps very confusing that for those that should be able to see pornography, adults should be able to make that decision. It's a bit like, they say, putting a brown paper bag over a computer. It shouldn't be up to the government or a nanny state, they say, to decide. And then there's a second issue, which is blocking terms. And however grotesque and disgusting they may be, some of the civil liberty campaigners say that the UK could be on the slippery slope of acting like China, banning a whole bunch of things if they go down this path. And they say instead they should be focusing on how you better track down people who produce these images of child abuse in the first place.
He's also talked about how he wants internet companies to block searches for certain offensive terms. Is that's going to be part of the speech today, is it?
It is. I mean, it's not expected to dominate. I think what will dominate will be the way of trying to sell the idea of having filters and making sure that the big companies like TalkTalk, BT, Sky and Virgin are all behind this as well. I should say, for the millions of us that have internet service providers already, David Cameron will say that he's managed to convince the big companies to write to every one of us, or every household, to suggest that it would be a good idea to have this filter in place. But there is a question about, certainly coming from experts in the field, on the issue of some of the really horrendous images that people are perhaps searching for. They would argue they are hidden away in the internet, and for somebody wanting to exploit them, they do not come up readily. So if there is a paedophile who will find ways around that, then that should be the priority, to get to them and not to get to the companies that are doing, adhering to the rules so far, to try and block that.
Gavin, go and get your ear sorted out, please.
Speak to you soon.
See you later. Ta-ta.
Call 08459 455 555.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Now, all this week on BBC Three Counties Radio, we're looking at the legacy of the London Olympics. 1 year on, has there been an increase in people taking up sport? Well, volunteering has been popular since the Games, with people who are expert in a particular sport giving up their time to teach others. They trained as sports makers, and it's hoped people can gain new skills by learning from them. Well, Rachel Edwards is a sports volunteer from Milton Keynes and joins me now. Morning, Rachel. How did you get involved in this volunteering?
I just saw something advertised, I think, in the paper about sports makers. I thought, well, that sounds good. So what
sounded good about it? What made you think, I'll have a go at this?
Well, I think it was because the Olympics were coming up, and I enjoy different types of sport, and I thought, well, I'll go along and see what they're saying about volunteering and helping out in different sports.
Now, I can tell from your voice, Rachel, because I'm good at this, you sound quite sporty. Would I be correct?
Yeah.
What kind of sports are you into?
Well, I'm more into sort of the mountain biking, climbing, as opposed to team games. Boot camps, running, orienteering, snowboarding, skiing.
Orienteering's not a sport.
Yes, it is.
We did a whole. Oh, it's great fun. I've done it, but that's just map reading, though, isn't it?
No, it's definitely a sport. Oh. No, it's very competitive. That is.
Oh, blimey!
Orienteering.
Are you allowed to take a sat nav with you when you go orienteering?
No.
Oh,
no.
Man alive! These rules. Have you noticed more people wanting to get more involved in sports as a result of the Olympics?
Yeah, I think generally people are keen to get involved in different sports. Sometimes just to get fit, but also because they can see that, it's good for them, and they can see that other people are enjoying it, and they think, well, let's have a go at it. And I think what's been great is that there's been a lot of sports that have offered have a go sort of trial, try this out possibilities for people who thought, oh, I'd like to have a go at that.
So do you feel that there's... because if I'm completely honest, I don't feel I'm noticing a particular Olympic legacy, but I'm a 40-year-old bloke, a dad of two, and I don't really move in sporty circles. Would you say there has been a positive legacy left?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, with some of the clubs that I'm involved in, you go along to them, and I'm not with these clubs all the time, but just sort of generally chatting to those who run them. Yeah, there's definitely been an increase of people who want to have a go at, maybe kayaking, or I want to have a go at snowboarding or skiing, or even the orienteering. There's been more people getting involved in that.
Rachel, thank you very much. Rachel Edwards from Milton Keynes, a sports maker who's been giving up her time volunteering and teaching people things like snowboarding and orienteering. Well, what do you think? Has there been an Olympic legacy? 08459 455 555. Akbar's in Luton. Akbar, have you been swept up by the Olympic legacy?
Not at all, Ian.
Oh,
good morning.
Good morning to you, Akbar.
I would like to be sort of cheerful and start my day in a cheerful mood. But unfortunately, when it comes to discussing Olympics, it didn't leave me with any feel at all. Either it was a pure waste of money, and a London event which, in a big way, passed by me, by my family, and by my community.
Oh, so you weren't swept up by the Olympic excitement? Did you watch any of the Olympics, Akbar?
I think I did, but it didn't catch me and didn't hold me long enough. But at the same time, we spent about £12 billion on this event, Ian, and it might have done something for profile of Lord Coe, but it didn't. In my view, it didn't do much for the community at large, and that money could have been spent in much more better ways.
So you've not gone out kayaking?
No.
Snowboarding?
Yeah. No.
Orienteering?
Not at all.
Kickboxing?
No.
Rollerball?
I will be going on my sort of everyday walks in the park, Ian. And that should keep me in good shape for times to come.
Okay, Akbar, here's something that will bring a smile to your face. The Duchess of Cambridge she's gone into labour. There's a royal baby on its way.
Good news, but it shouldn't be taking up BBC's time, and for that matter, shouldn't be sort of plastered all over the pages. It's a new arrival in the royal family. Nation sends them best wishes to them, but at the same time, she is a human being like any other, and I think we shouldn't waste too much time on that as well.
I like you, Akbar. You're as grumpy as me. Okay, listen. The programme controller of BBC Three Counties has got the sack, okay? That they don't know this yet, but they have, okay? We need someone to replace them. Akbar, you are now in charge of BBC Three Counties Radio. What should we be talking about? Set the agenda, sir.
For today or for tomorrow?
For today. Let's carry on. He's good. He's thinking ahead. For today. What else should we be talking about for today?
Well, Ian, we should be talking about the state of politics in this country, which is not great at the minute. The parties, the government is in bad state in the sense that two parties are trying to run a government, and two parties cannot run an efficient government. Ian.
Okay.
So
the state of politics. We'll do that. We'll get a local MP on and someone else. I need a second story from you, Akbar.
The second story probably I would bring up in my discussion with the people in Three Counties is the state of hospitals in Luton and in Milton Keynes and in Bedford.
Yep. Good one.
These are three very important areas which affect our lives, and we should be associating lots of time to these stories, Ian.
And final one, Akbar, we always like to do something a little bit light-hearted. What should we send Justin out to for a few laughs?
Send him out to find find from people that how they are feeling today and what their thoughts are about the new arrival at the palace.
Fantastic. Akbar, listen, we may speak to you later and we may give you a job. Is that all right?
I will be pleased to accept that offer.
Okay. But back away. Hang on. It's not a formal offer. No. I will talk to... let me consider it and we'll speak to you soon.
Okay.
Thank you, Akbar. There you go, you see. Fair play. I put him on the spot. He came up with some cracking stuff. Now, we do have a boss here, sometimes. All I'm saying is, there have been a lot of heads have fallen at the BBC recently. So just bear in mind, we have a potential replacement lined up in Akbar there. 08459 455 555. Right, it's coming up. It's coming up to 8:45. Where has this morning gone? It's flown by. Let's get the travel news now. Here's Adam Glynn.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Cheers, Iain. Still disruption for First Capital Connect. It's because of problems to the south of London in Streatham. They had overrunning engineering work there early this morning. 15-minute delays and the odd cancellation still to be expected for the time being. They're affected from Sutton through to St Albans and Selhurst through to Bedford. On the roads, the M11, they've had to shut off a lane northbound again because of the lorry fire earlier. They're doing the recovery work now. This is between Harlow and Bishop Stortford, junction 7 and 8. The A1 looking slow at the Black Cat roundabout. Busy then as you make your way southbound past Letchworth through towards Stevenage and stop-start into London as you go along the Barnet bypass through Boreham Wood, Stirling Corner to Mill Hill Circus. The M1 southbound is slow from junction 13 at Bedford toward 11 at the A505, and the M40 London bound has a patch of slow-moving traffic as you make your way from Stokenchurch toward High Wycombe, junction 5 to 4. M25 slow both ways into the roadworks, clockwise from junction 22, anti-clockwise all the way back into Essex. It's also stop-start from the M1 through to the M40, junction 21 to 16. Adam Glynn, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Adam, thank you very much. Right, coming up to 8:46. It's Monday, the 22nd of July. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. Stevenage Borough Council is being accused of failing 19-year-old Amelia Arnold, who died at the hands of a violent boyfriend. Jack Wall is due to be sentenced later today after being found guilty of murder. Kensington Palace has confirmed the Duchess of Cambridge has been admitted to St Mary's Hospital in London, where she's said to be in the early stages of labour. In sport, Captain Alastair Cook played down talk of a first Ashes whitewash after England thumped Australia by a huge 347 runs. Coming up, the royal baby is on its way. But are you bothered? 08459 455 555. Let's get the weather with Elizabeth Rosini.
Beds, Herts and Bucks weather.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Hello, a very good morning to you. It's going to be the hottest day of the year so far today, possibly. Also feeling very humid, and we're likely to see some more thunderstorms, I should say, develop a little bit later on this afternoon and into the evening. Certainly a very high risk of that. In the meantime, lots of sunshine around. Once that mist clears, that will go very quickly. And some very high temperatures indeed, creeping up into the low 30s in Celsius, just about anywhere really across the three counties. And then as we head into this afternoon, the risk perhaps of some thunderstorms developing, some intense downpours, a lot of rain within a short space of time. With the ground very dry at the moment, we could see some surface water flooding. So it's something to watch out for, I'd say, particularly if you are driving on your commute home tonight. Overnight tonight, a very warm night to come. Temperatures not really dropping out of the high teens. Lots more thunderstorms, very widespread, I think, tonight and into tomorrow. There's a Met Office weather warning out for the intensity of the rain coming from these storms tomorrow. Still feeling very hot and humid, but it will feel fresher from Wednesday onwards. And don't worry, there'll be some sunshine around too for the second half of the week. After the oppressive heat of today, I think it will feel a bit cooler for the end of the week as well. That's the forecast.
Thank you very much. Oh, Elizabeth? Hello? She gone? Look at that. Straight off. Unbelievable. How rude.
Roberto Perrone, debating the local issues.
Bill Rowe is a guardian angel. He needs volunteers for his Luton chapter.
This is not being a policeman. You can't do a policeman's job. It is giving safe passage to more vulnerable people.
Roberto Perrone.
A red kite has been rescued from a tree in Hertfordshire. There was a lost parrot in the three counties, and I was ready to mobilise our best people. Forget snakes on a plane. This is snakes in Hertfordshire. Potentially 27 of them.
Roberto Perrone.
And I love love the animal stories. I do the animal stories.
Weekdays from 3 on BBC Three Counties Radio.
08459 455 555 is the telephone number. I'm keen to know, OK, the royal baby is on its way, and while I wish them every joy and every success, I find it very hard to get excited. As I said earlier, I don't get that excited when my friends announce that they're going to have babies or go into... You know, it's kind of nice and there's a vague interest, but... So for a couple of millionaires to, you know... have a baby, it does very little for me. It leaves me feeling a little bit empty. This morning, got 10 minutes. Do give me a call or send me a text. Am I being grumpy and miserable? Are you celebrating the fact that the royal baby's on its way? When they got married, we had people came round to watch it. I wore a tuxedo and served cups of tea. That's the kind of guy I am. I did at my house. I wore a tuxedo. No one else dressed. I thought we were all dressing up. No, so I'm wearing a tuxedo at 8:30 in the morning. And it was nice to watch it, but I did get a bit bored afterwards, you know, or into it. 08459 455 555. Can we find someone to call in this morning or send me a text who is looking forward to the royal baby and thinks I'm being a bit grumpy and a little bit miserable? Well, Akbar in Luton called up and he suggested we send our reporter Justin Dealey out to see if people care. Justin, I don't know if you heard Akbar's suggestion. We have sent you out.
Yeah.
Earlier on, no one was that interested. Has the mood changed slightly?
Not really. I reckon I've cracked this one. And by the way, you in a tuxedo. What a lovely thought for a Monday morning, eh?
Isn't it? It's a little sexy image for the ladies and indeed some of the gentlemen. I don't mind. I don't mind.
Yeah, absolutely. So earlier on, people...
Hey, here's an idea.
Yeah, go on.
Friday, shall we do a smart show and we all wear tuxedos and dresses and things?
Let's do that.
Shall we do that?
Let's dress down on Thursday.
Yep.
Come in wearing our mankinis. Yep. And on Friday, we'll come in wearing our tuxedos.
Shall we do that?
Yes.
Definitely. The production team aren't listening, so they won't know what we're talking about. But tuxedo and smart dress Friday. Anyway, sorry, brilliant. Carry on, sir.
Yeah, so back to the royal family. Earlier on, you were right, actually. The initial reaction wasn't great at all. People weren't bothered. I've been getting some more reaction in the last 20 minutes. I've been asking people, are they excited about the royal baby? And this is what people had to say.
No, I'm not really bothered, mate. No, it doesn't interest me. I'm not really interested in the royal family, to be honest.
Madam, breaking news. The royal baby is on its way. How do you feel?
Absolutely thrilled. I'm very excited and, really looking forward to hearing whether she has a little girl or boy, and wish them all the best.
Now, that accent, where are you from?
I'm from Australia.
From Australia, living here in Luton. Most people I've spoken to this morning here in Luton could not care less, but you're from Australia and you're very excited. Why do you think people have got such a negative attitude about the royal family?
Oh, well, I don't really think they understand the importance of the royal family. The monarchy is a very important part of this country, and they're there for a reason.
Yeah, my wife is interested because she's pregnant as well, so she texted me today saying, text me once you know she got a baby, so she's more excited than I am, probably.
And your accent, where are you from?
I'm from Ukraine.
From Ukraine. Again, you're excited, but people in this country that I'm speaking to this morning aren't. It tends to be people from outside the UK who are actually more excited about this.
I think the royal family has more publicity abroad. Just good news for everyone, so...
No.
Can you tell us why?
Because it's just so hyped up. She's one person. I know she's a princess and she's had a baby, but I don't care, really.
So you won't be having a party later on?
No.
Not a street party at the weekends?
No.
You really don't care, do you?
No.
Well, isn't it interesting, Justin? The only people interested are members of the Commonwealth. Well, Ukraine's not the Commonwealth, but we probably owned it at some point. Foreigners care about it.
Absolutely shocking. I'm on the streets of Luton. I'm going to randomly go up to this man here. Sir, what's your name?
Stephen.
Stephen, how old are you?
20.
20, you're looking very smart. Very exciting news today about the royal baby. Are you bothered?
Not really. I'm not really a royalist. Don't care.
So you won't be watching the TV later on to find out the news or anything like that?
No, I'm sure I'll hear about it some way, but not today. Maybe not.
What makes you happy, by the way? Is there anything that makes you happy?
Yeah.
What makes you smile? Come on.
like music a lot.
Yeah, but not the royal family.
Not the royal family.
Okay, thank you. Have a good day.
Cheers.
There you go. So, Ian, I think we've cracked this one this morning. My exclusive research would suggest to me that people inside the UK do not care one bit. People who are from outside the UK, they're very, very excited about the royal baby, which hopefully is on its way safely today.
Justin Dealey, and you are quite pleased by it, aren't you? You think it's a bit of good news?
You know, I think, a lot of people knock this country.
Here we go.
Hang on.
Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, Alf Garnett. Yeah, go on. Alf Garnett FM.
A lot of people knock this country. If it's so bad, what are we all doing here? It's a fantastic country, and it's something as a nation.
I'm not knocking the country. It's a cracking country. It's definitely in the top 10 of my favourite countries in the world. but why should I feel excited about two millionaires proving they've had successful intercourse?
Because it's the royal family. Come on, there's so much bad news around these days. You've only got to pick up the newspaper. This is something again that, as a nation, we can come together. I'm slightly different now because we had the royal wedding a couple of years ago, and before that I was so negative about it. When the day came, bit like you, I was all dressed up. I had a fantastic occasion, and I think today again as a nation we should all be celebrating, not being negative.
If it was the Queen having another baby, I would celebrate that
as a miracle. Yes.
Justin Dealey, thank you very much indeed. Well, it's official. It's going to be Smart Dress Friday. I'll regret that on Friday morning when I have to get dressed and wear a tuxedo, but that's what we're going to do, and you're all invited, not to the studio, but to dress up smartly and listen at home. Bob is in Dunstable. Bob, are you excited about the royal baby?
Hello, Ian. Not really. I'm pleased for them, but I'm certainly not going to be wearing a tuxedo or anything.
Oh.
I think actually sort of newborn babies are quite ugly. I feel terribly guilty with all these people that say, oh, isn't it beautiful? But I think they're ugly.
Well, what do you ever say to them? You're really ugly, baby.
Well, no, I'd like to, but no, I have to sort of say the opposite and say, oh, how lovely, isn't it beautiful? But when really I think, ugh.
You're right, all newborn babies look like a shriveled part of the male anatomy, yes, or a tiny ET. There's nothing but apart from mine, of course. But some most children, when they get to like 2, 3, 4, I think that they're beautiful. But some
a character then, don't they?
Bob, some children, 3-year-olds, they're flipping ugly, aren't they? And you can't say anything. And you wonder, do the parents know that they're ugly?
I've never ever seen a baby that I could really honestly say, you're beautiful.
Yeah.
Yes, when they a couple of years old or something, yes, but not newborn. All wrinkly and all.
Bob in Dunstable, thank you very much indeed. It's because they've been in that sack of water for 9 months. That's what it is. That's what it's all about. But apart from my two boys, most new babies, they don't look good in the slightest, do they? Let's go to Pat in Milton Keynes. Morning, Pat.
Morning.
Pat, are you excited about the royal baby?
Absolutely thrilled to bits.
Are you foreign?
No.
Oh, why are you excited?
I'm excited because I couldn't be more excited if it was my own grandchildren. I think it's lovely.
Really?
Yeah.
Why? Why is it that you don't... Have you ever met them? Do you know them?
No.
Right. Then where is
the royal family's lovely, and I think the baby's lovely, and I think it's...
We've not seen the baby yet, Pat. It could be ugly.
No.
Could be an ugly baby.
Not with a couple like that. No
Well,
way.
one of them, yes. Depends whose genes dominate, shall we say. But it's got you excited. See,
I've been waiting bated breath for a week now.
Oh. So how old are you, Pat?
I'm 64.
Yeah, you say pretty much the same age as my mum. What? Sorry, no, I was going to say pretty much the same age as my mum. Is it because you're of that generation that has got a lot more interest and respect for the royal family?
Yeah, could be, I suppose. I just love the royal family. I think they're all wonderful. They're worth every penny. I think they're lovely, and I can't wait for this baby to be born.
If we had to get
4 o'clock this morning because I knew I was going to have it today.
Did you feel it in your water?
I did, yeah.
Pat, if we had to get rid of one member of the royal family to save money, which one would you get rid of?
None of them.
If you had to get rid of one,
none.
One of them must be a dead weight. Andrew.
None.
Andrew.
No.
Edward.
No.
Edward's wife.
No, none of them.
Really?
No. They're fabulous.
Zara Phillips.
No.
Wow. Okay.
None of them. They're all lovely.
Pat, it's nice to talk to you.
I could think of a few other people I'll get rid of.
Oh, blimey, here we go. Pat, nice to talk to you. Thank you very much indeed. Well, Pat's very, very excited. I think we've got time just to squeeze in Angela. Morning, Angela.
Good morning.
Angela, are you excited about the baby?
I am.
Can I ask why?
Because we're two young people, obviously in love, showing the world through a baby. It's lovely.
Yeah, but that happens every day, all over the country.
It does, you're right, and I'm happy for all of those people as well.
But they're not going to get...
You're taking umbrage that it's going to be forced down our throats for weeks, and we're going to get really fed up with it. But they're happy.
Angela, we have to end it there. You made your point. A couple of positive calls to end it on. Let's get the travel news now with Adam.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Well, I can start with some good news because First Capital Connect have resumed a normal service after the overrunning engineering works at Streatham to the south of London earlier this morning. On the roads, busy in places still. M11 northbound, you've got a lane closed once again because of the lorry fire earlier today. They're doing the recovery work now. Harlow up to Bishop Stortford, junction 7 to 8. Southbound A1 looking slow at the Black Cat roundabout. The A428 is looking quite busy. The Great North Road coming through into Eton Soken and St Neots. The A1M is looking busy from Letchworth to Stevenage, and then as you come into London, there's a delay on the A1 from Apex Corner to Mill Hill Circus. M25 anti-clockwise slow through the roadworks and busy from the M1 to the M40. Clockwise quite slow into the roadworks as well. Boreham Wood, there are problems on Chester Road. It's been blocked by an accident between Manaway and Balmoral Drive. And if you're using the M40, London bound is still slow from Stokenchurch toward High Wycombe, junction 5 to 4. Adam Glynn, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Adam, thank you very much. That's it, that's your lot. Thank you very much, everyone who took part. You can carry on discussing this on the Facebook page. Tim is up next, sitting in for JVS. Do listen, he's cracking and it should be a lot of fun. I'll be back tomorrow. Until then, ta-ta.
On FM, AM, online and digital radio.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
Yes, good morning. It is Tim Wheeler sitting in for Jonathan Vernon's